sounds like someone's lowered prices with their Tesco Club card. Like 10 Tesco Finest Pork Sausages, now half price for just £2.50, down from £5. With Tesco Club card, everyone can feel the to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores end 7th of May. Club card or app required.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge afternoon of Scottish League action. Celtic are looking to go 6 points clear at the top against Hearts before Rangers try and respond against Kilmarnock tomorrow. A European shootout between Dundee and St Mirren, while it's all about the bottom of the table in Motherwell, Dingwall and Aberdeen. The Championship drew to a close last night with Leagues 1 and 2 to follow today. It's getting to the serious part of the season. Three very serious men for the occasion: Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
This is World Press Freedom Day. So this press man is going to exercise his right to free speech and say that Celtic's game against Hearts this afternoon is more important than next weekend's Old Firm derby. If Brendan Rodgers' side beat Hearts, they'll go into the game against Rangers on a tsunami of self-belief. But if Hearts beat Celtic for the third time in a row, there'll be a torrent of abuse and the creation of self-doubt ahead of the big day. This is a monumental match for Celtic, and that word applies to Livy as they try to avoid the drop when they play Motherwell, and it applies to St Johnstone and Ross County, who are trying to avoid the playoffs. I look at the calendar and I say to all of the teams in the Premiership, may the 4th be with you.
Yeah, Hugh builds it up perfectly. What a big weekend we've got ahead. Fixtures today and tomorrow, and all eyes of course on the top of the table, Celtic v Hearts. Crucial that Celtic go 6 points clear before Rangers kick a ball tomorrow. And at the bottom, huge pressure on St Johnstone and Ross County fighting for survival. Big Saturday ahead.
Not just this weekend but all the way to the end of the season, then the cup final. All exciting games, all important games. I'm looking forward to this weekend, Gordon. I'm looking forward to Celtic and Hearts, especially. Rangers Kilmarnock tomorrow, and you look at the bottom of the league, a lot of points to be won there.
Every weekend on Clyde One Super Scoreboard is dramatic, but the season is drawing to a close. Prizes are about to be won, hearts are about to be broken, so you won't want to miss a beat. You can stay in touch all afternoon at Clyde SSB on Twitter. Of course, I will give you the nod to phone in a bit later on to react to whatever unfolds before us this afternoon. But let's get straight to it, because there are huge games, monumental games everywhere you look, and the top of the table seems the obvious place to start. Celtic against Hearts. Here's Andrew McLean.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers mentioning yesterday about wanting to put that scoreboard pressure on because they play first this weekend. A win would move them 6 points clear of Rangers, having just 4 games left to play after their game against Kilmarnock tomorrow. It would be a big step in the title race and would be a big help heading in to that Old Firm game next weekend. Easier said than done though when you look at their record against Hearts this season. 3 meetings, Hearts have won the last 2, including a 2-0 win here in December. The last time they won 3 in a row against Celtic, you need to go back to 1961. Let's take a look at the teams, and both teams for this one are unchanged, so it means James Forrest continues in that Celtic starting lineup. Callum McGregor, maybe a few questions about his fitness after coming back from injury, but he is in the starting lineup as well. So Joe Hart in goal for them today. The back four: Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales fresh off his new 4-year contract, and Greg Taylor at left back. The midfield three: Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate, Nicholas Kuhn and James Forrest either side of Kyogo. The substitutes: Bain, Palma, Ida, Yang, Nawrocki, Iwata, Bernardo, Maida and Ralston. Hearts, as I said, unchanged as well. It means Xander Clark continues in goal ahead of Craig Gordon. It's going to be a back five. The 3 central defenders: Stephen Kingsley, Frankie Kent and Kai Rolls. Will be Dexter Lembikisa as the right wing back, Alex Cochrane as the left wing back. The 3 in midfield are George Grant, Cammy Devlin and Benny Beningame. Kenny Vargas is supporting Lawrence Shankland up top. The substitutes: Gordon, Oda, Atkinson, Forrest, Mackay, Sibic, Denholm, Fraser and Tagawa. The referee here at Celtic Park is Kevin Clancy. The VAR is Nick Walsh.
Mark Wilson, I was going to say, what jumps out from that Celtic team? It's not like there are loads of surprises or changes, but what's key today for you?
Well, just it's the same side. Brendan Rodgers obviously thinking that is his strongest side. I think a big talking point, who's on the bench, Maeda, back involved, where everyone thought he was going to be ruled out for the rest of the season, but he's deemed fit enough for the bench, which puts him right in the frame for the game next week. But he's got Forrest and Kuhn in the wide areas. Forrest delivered last week. Brendan Rodgers will be looking for Kuhn and the others to chip in today. So it's a pretty strong team, but they need to be better in possession and move the ball quicker than they did last week. I believe they will do that on a big pitch today at Celtic Park. And like, if Celtic lose to Hearts 3 times in one season, they probably deserve to lose the league. So that's how crucial today is.
We spoke about this last night, Gordon, where if you're going to make a case for anyone, it would be Hearts, because as Hugh pointed out, they've beaten Celtic home and away. You then get that, you become I don't know what the word is, you look at the probability of it all and think, can Hearts really beat Celtic 3 times in one season? They'll certainly believe that they can, but it would be quite something if they were to complete the trio this afternoon.
I think if Celtic aren't at it, they're certainly capable, because they've got good players. They've been excellent this season. Got to semi-final, obviously, finished third. You've got a guy that probably for me is player of the season, Shankland. So I fancy Celtic, because I've said it from the split that Celtic and Rangers won't drop points up until Celtic Park. I fancy Celtic to win it. But you're right, if they're not at it, if they're not in the front foot, if they don't defend properly, Hearts have certainly got the players to punish them.
You do get from time to time, Hugh, where the eyes are drawn to someone who's on the bench rather than in the starting 11, and it feels like Celtic fans will all be just watching Dalziel Maeda. When does he start to warm up? How many minutes does he get? And does that prepare him to start against Rangers next week?
The Celtic fans want to see Dalziel Maeda brought on when they are cruising, and he gets game time prior to the match against Rangers. What they don't want to see is Dalziel Maeda brought on in a state of panic, because Hearts are yet again in front of Celtic and the clock is ticking down. If Celtic, and I agree with Mark Wilson wholeheartedly, if Celtic lose 3 times to Hearts in a row, then, well, you don't deserve the league. But Shankland is hands down the most dangerous player in the country, and Celtic, they have to defend more resolutely than they did against Rangers when they lost 3 goals. Aberdeen in the Cup where they lost 3 goals. Dundee last week where they scored Dundee's goal for them. And they continue to lose the same goals, but because of the same defensive mistakes. They've got to be as tight as a drum today, and surely they understand the psychological significance of going 6 points ahead of Rangers, who are playing Derek McInnes's much improved Kilmarnock tomorrow.
I find that a little bit unfair to say that. If Celtic lose to Hearts 3 times, they don't deserve to win the league. The league campaign's over from August all the way to May. There's a lot of games there. You look at Rangers, for instance. Rangers could not win a game against Celtic and go and win the league. Would Rangers fan complain about that?
Looking pretty tough to do that now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just think that, look, if Celtic lose today and Rangers go and win 1-0 tomorrow, they're still in a good position. So you can still go and win the league. I know what Mark's saying. If you're Celtic, you don't want to be losing to Hearts. But Hearts are the third best team in our country. They've got probably the best goal scorer in the country just now. They've got decent players. So I'm not. Listen, the boys have got their own opinion. I don't agree that if you lose 3 times at Hearts, you don't deserve it.
I think maybe we're splitting hairs. I think the word deserved is what's throwing the
I'm
spanner
not
in the works. Maybe
either.
you could say you can't expect to win the league if you lose to Hearts 3 times. We all agree on that. Is that fine? Can we
we're
shake hands on that and move
today
on?
in a bad mood.
Mark, it's interesting because listening to Brendan Rodgers yesterday, I don't think he was taking anything away. I don't think he was trying to play down the previous defeats to Hearts, but it did remind you about how important it is to get just the big moments right within the games, rather than overall performance, but the big moments. You look at the game at Celtic Park, it was a terribly defended corner from Celtic and a free kick that Stephen Kingsley bangs in from miles out. So throughout the balance of the game, maybe not that much in it, but Celtic got the big moments wrong and Hearts got them right. Then go to Tynecastle. I don't think we need to go down the disciplinary road and remind everybody, but everyone's well aware Celtic were down to 10 men for about 75 minutes and they missed a penalty. So Hearts are clearly the type of opponent that if you get the big moments wrong, they'll punish you. They can punish you. That's not to say Celtic were outplayed in both of those games or dreadful in both those games, but you need to get those moments bang on.
Of course you do, because Hearts will punish you. Guys like Shankland in the box, who puts away that set piece, is certainly capable of that. Set pieces, and Kingsley can do that and put it in the top corner. But you need to take your chances when you get them. Now, Celtic were guilty of that at Tynecastle, and I think actually that day at Tynecastle I thought Celtic played very well with 10 men, but defensively they were poor to give up the goals that they did. And then at Celtic Park I thought they were a bit lacklustre in the final third when Hearts beat them, and they didn't create enough. So that's going to be different today. But they've got an informed James Forrest, so he's going to be crucial today. Kuhn, can you get better out of him? But I think the Celtic fans want to see a bit more from Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate. I think much better than they did last week. And Callum McGregor, who's been a stalwart in there, but no doubt about it, when he's come back from injury, he's looked a yard off the pace. So a big afternoon for him ahead of next week's game against Rangers.
Brendan Rodgers again spoke yesterday, said they've worked on him slightly differently in the last week and he's looking a bit lighter on his feet and a bit sharper, so we will see. That's you right up to speed with the team news from Celtic Park. Celtic against Hearts, Motherwell against Livingston. We've sent a Motherwell legend in Fraser Wishart along to the game. Is this Livy's last stand, or are you about to witness the latest instalment of a miraculous comeback, Fraser?
I can just picture Dale's face as you described me as a Motherwell legend. Remember that, Gordon? Motherwell legend. But you're right, it could be Livy's last stand. There's a bit to play for Motherwell as well. Still arithmetically possible. They could be in the playoff place. I think it's unlikely, but an unlikely series of results might get them in that drop position. But Stuart Kettlewell will just want that to be settled today. But if they were to lose and Ross County and St Johnstone win, nerves will begin to jangle with 4 points of difference and 3 games to go. So Stuart Kettlewell and the fans will just want that to be settled today. But for Livy, all but relegated, but a win today, along with other results going their way, then they can just keep their slim chances alive. But been an up and down season for Motherwell. They made the right decision, in my opinion, to stick by Stuart Kettlewell. He's got a decent squad to build on, but they have lost a lot of goals this season, 52 in total, 28 at home, so perhaps it's at the back he's going to look to add to his squad, because up front Spittle and Bear have been outstanding. Spittle of course leaving, so he's going to have to be replaced as well, so a bit of work to be done. But to do that, I think Stuart Kettlewell of course wants to secure their top flight status first, and that can be done today. For Livy, perhaps it's just about delaying the inevitable. David Martindale seems to have been talking about relegation since late 2023, but he's a number of players back from injury today and a strong looking bench, and at the very least he'll just want to win to keep, at least put a wee bit of pressure on St Johnstone and Ross County just above them, and keep things interesting for another game or two at the bottom of the table. Hopefully an open game today. A draw's no good to Livy, and a few goals to the Firth Park fans to enjoy. Team news: 2 changes for Motherwell. Vale is of course suspended and Dravkovsky drops to the bench. In comes Andy Halliday in the midfield and Sam Nicholson as an extra forward player. They go with a 3-4-2-1 formation. Liam Kelly in goals, Dan Casey, Paul McGinn and Shane Blaney across the back. 4 midfield: Stephen O'Donnell, Lennon Miller, Andy Halliday and George Gent, with Sam Nicholson and Blair Spittle tucked behind the lone striker Theo Bair. Ashton Oxborough, Bevis Mugabe, Harry Payton, Davor Dravkovsky, Ollie Shaw, Moses DeBie, Mark Ferry, Luca Ross and Callum Butcher are the substitutes. And perhaps no surprise that Livingston, David Martindale's not made one change to a team that beat Ross County last weekend to keep them in the hunt to stay up. So they're unchanged. 4-2-3-1 formation. Jamal George in goals, Michael Nottingham, Michael Devlin, Ayo Obalai and Sean Kelly at the back. At 2 in midfield: Jason Holt and Jamie Brandon, Dan Mackay, Stephen Kelly and Scott Pittman behind Bruce Anderson. Their substitutes are Kieran Wright, Christian Montano, David Carson, Stephen Bradley, Joel Newbley, Mo Sangari, Andy Shinney, Curtis Guthrie and Tete Yengi. And the referee today is David Monroe, and the VAR is Ewan Anderson.
What about this for a game at Dens Park? A shootout for a European place between Dundee and St Mirren, both going for it. David Friel's watching.
Yeah, Gordon, I know all eyes on Celtic Park, but I think this could be a claim for game of the day. The race for 5th in a 12-team league, it might not normally sound that dramatic, but with that European place up for grabs, it's a massive one for both clubs. Dundee last played European football 21 years ago, when our good friend Jim Duffy was the manager. Perugia knocked him out. For St Mirren, you need to go further back than that to season 1987-88, so that tells you how big this could be. One of these clubs will be back on the European stage next season, and today could obviously go a long way to deciding who that is. St Mirren start the day in 5th, 2 points above Dundee in 6th. I think they're both had pretty similar seasons. They've both won plenty of praise, played some good stuff, but I think both sets of fans now want to get the passports out for next season and get back to Europe. Dundee lost 2-1 to Celtic last weekend. They're actually 4 games without a win coming into this, not in great form. But there's a reason why Tony Docherty is up for the PFA Manager of the Year award tomorrow night, and he will be desperate for 3 points today. Omens are, well, Dundee beat St Mirren 4-0 here in November, but you get the feeling it will be a lot closer here today. Tony Docherty's made 2 changes, and Donnelly comes in for Josh Mulligan. It looks like Dundee will switch to a back 3, and Lyle Cameron is also back from injury to replace Malachi Boateng. So the back 3, John McCracken will be in goals. Back 3 of Antonio Portales, Aaron Donnelly and Ricky Lamy. Jordan McGee and Owen Dodgson will be the wing backs, with Mo Salah, Luke McCown and Lyle Cameron in the midfield 3. Scott Tiffany will roam in behind Amadou Bakayoko. Subs for Dundee are Sharp, Astley, Main, Mulligan, Robertson, Boateng, Mellon and Costello. As for St Mirren, Stephen Robinson take charge of his 100th game for the club today, and he's obviously going to be fired up for this one. They lost 2-1 to Rangers last weekend, their 3rd defeat in a row. They're not in great form either, but they played pretty well and have beaten Dundee twice this season already. Robinson's made just one attacking change. Toyosi Olasanya is in for Greg Kelty, and his team looks set up to have a real go against Dundee today. St Mirren are going to be Zach Hemming in goals, back 3 of James Bolton, Alec Gogic and Marcus Fraser. Ryan Strain, Caelan Boyd-Munce, Mark O'Hara and Scott Tanza across the middle, with Conor McMenamin and Toyosi Olasanya in behind Mikel Mandron. Subs for St Mirren are Rominski, Taylor, Dunn, Brown, Flynn, Bacchus, Kelty, Jameson and Scott. The referee at the Scott Foam Stadium is Matthew McDermott, and the VAR is Alan Muir.
Looking forward to that one. Plenty at stake. David Friel has outlined it perfectly. Both going for Europe, both been missing European football for quite some time, and that is probably an understatement. So Dundee against St Mirren should be an absolute cracker. What about Ross County against Hibs? Roger Hanna's been on his travels. He's in Dingwall. Take it away, Roger.
Yeah, Gordon, and the Hibs are the best of the rest, I feel like, after last week's comprehensive win over St Johnstone in Perth. And they might even have made the top 6, had some tough VAR calls not gone against them before the split. Nick Montgomery discussing it yesterday and saying the decisions and this week's admission by the SFA that they got it wrong felt like a punch in the face. But if he's to avoid another punch in the face and more pain and losing his job, then 7th place in the Premiership might be a minimum requirement for Bill Foley and this Hibernian board. If Don Cowie is to get the county job on a permanent basis, then survival will be his minimum requirement. They stuttered last week, 2-0 defeat at Livingston in their first outing since that amazing win against Rangers, so consistency a real problem for the host. They're still a point behind St Johnstone with 4 games to go, including a trip to Perth in the midweek before the campaign ends, and that could be decisive. We're expecting a close one here. 2-2 draws between the sides this season. Hibs edging the other game at Easter Road 2-0. It was actually here when Hibs last won in Dingwall, a 2-0 success 19 months ago. Ryan Porteous scoring just days after his Scotland debut against Ukraine. I can give you the team news. 3 changes for each side. County leave out Sims, Harman and Laturi. In come Reid, Brophy and Will Nightingale, starting in the middle of a 3-man central defence. His first outing since he was injured in Derek Adams' last game in charge at the start of February. So it's Ross Laidlaw in goal. Back 3, Jack Baldwin the skipper, Will Nightingale back in the team, and Ryan Leake. Across the middle, Michi Effetti, Connor Randall, Eli King and Josh Reid, and Jan Danda just in behind Eamon Brophy and Simon Murray. On the bench it's Wickens, Aina and Brown, Henderson, Keller and White, Laturi, Harman and Sibbs. 2 enforced changes among the 3 for Hibs. Last week's goal scorers Paul Hanlon and Dylan Vente both start in place of the injured Will Fish and Adam Lafondra, who drops to the bench. And the other change is a late one in goal. David Marshall left out. We're told it's a precaution against a minor injury, but Jojo Walcott starts in goal. And there's a couple of young goalies on the bench, Murray Johnson and Freddie Owens, both there. Marshall, of course, a former teammate of Don Cowie. They had 3 seasons together at Cardiff City, but they won't be in direct opposition today. So Hibs go with Jojo Walcott in goal. The back 4, Chris Cadden, Rocky Bashiri, Paul Hanlon and Jordan Obita. The midfield holders, Nathan Mariah Welch and Joe Newell, and then Martin Boyle, Emiliano Marcondes and Mizian Maulida behind Dylan Vente. On the bench, Johnson, Owens and Triantis, Stevenson, Levitt and Campbell, Tavares, Mayenda and Lafondra. The referee is Don Robertson, and the VAR on a lovely day in Dingwall is John Beaton.
And last but by no means least, a big game at Pittodrie. There's been a bit of managerial drama there today as well. Dave Galloway has the details.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Gordon. The build-up to this one, of course, dominated by the news that Peter Leven won't be in the Aberdeen dugout after having an emergency operation last night. Now, there's no updates on what the club told us a little earlier, that the op was a success and that he's expected to make a full and quick recovery. I actually spoke with Peter before yesterday's pre-match media conference briefly, and he said his hip was really sore, and he just laughed when I said, so you'll be a doubt for the game then. Under 18s boss Scott Anderson takes charge this afternoon. But having inched their way up to 8th in the Premiership, the Dons are determined to close out a highly frustrating campaign on a high as incoming manager Jimmy Tillin looks on. The Swede has already been involved in planning for next season. Interim Peter Leven, the aforementioned interim Peter Leven, he has steadied the ship. He's done a good job. Results and performances have improved. Now the Reds are setting their sights on 7th placed Hibs, whom they trail currently by 4 points. St Johnstone, they're in big trouble, aren't they, as they hover just 1 point above the relegation playoff place. 4 defeats out of 5 for them. But how they'd love to dial into one of their best performances of the season. I was there on the night. Their previous visit to Pittodrie, Saints ran out deserved winners with a 2-0 victory. Looking at the teams, Aberdeen are unchanged. So it's Keller Roos in goal. A back four of Nicky Devlin, Stefan Gartenmann, Angus MacDonald and Jack McKenzie. The sitters, Conor Barron and Dante Polvara. Further forward, Jamie McGrath, Leighton Clarkson and Junior Hoylett, with Bojan Majowski leading the line. The subs, Doohan, Shinnie, Jensen, Duke, Phillips, Sockler, Duncan, Milne and Rubezic. 3 changes for the Saints today. In come Dre Wright, Benji Kimpioka and Connor Smith. Out drop Fran Franzak, Luke Robinson and Adama Sidibe. So looks like a 3-1-4-2 today for the Perth team. Dimitar Mitov in goals. Then at the back, Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. Dan Phillips playing in front of them. Then it's Dre Wright, Matt Smith, Connor Smith and Graham Carey with a strike force today for St Johnstone. Nicky Clark and Benji Kimpioka. The subs for them this afternoon: Richards, May, McPherson, Kushriavi, Sidibe, Olufunwa, Crawford, Kelchins and Franzak. Your match referee today at a dull and chilly Pittodrie, it's Chris Graham, and on VAR duties we have Greg Aitken.
I'm sure it'll be a quiet day in the VAR front. It always is. That's you up to speed with your team news. It's a huge day in Leagues 1 and 2 as well, and we'll continue the build up next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that is right for you. Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell and Darnley, and Jaguar, Volvo and Land Rover showrooms found in Hillington. Right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today, or even pop into the showroom local to you. Now, back to the podcast.
Now on Garden Time, we have a question about roses. Patricia?
Hello? Yes, but my rose bush. I've noticed the leaves have been getting black spots.
Black spots?
I wondered if that was something I ought to be concerned about.
Don't dilly-dally.
Get on Bally!
Bally Casino has arrived. The American gaming experience is now here in the UK. Get 30 free spins when you spend £10. Play online today.
UK only. New members only must opt in. Free spins on Secrets of the Phoenix Megaways. 1p coin size, 20 lines, 30-day expiry. Further terms apply. 18 plus. Play responsibly. BeGamblerAware.org.
Sounds like someone's lowered prices with their Tesco Club Card. Like 10 Tesco Finest Pork Sausages, now half price for just £2.50, down from £5. With Tesco Club Card, everyone can feel the to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores end 7th of May. Club Card or app required.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. The top team are around the grounds. We've already been round. We've given you the team news from Celtic, Hearts, Motherwell, Livy, Dundee, St Mirren, Ross County, Hibs and Aberdeen at St Johnstone. We will go back and focus on those games in the not too distant future. Thought it might be a nice opportunity since we've got the main man himself in our presence. Fraser Wishart, are you ready to dish out the player of the year across the various categories tomorrow? I know you'll be crushed at Gordon Dalziel's absence, but everything else going to plan?
It's all good to plan. I don't think I've ever been asked so many times by various people, just people in the game, people in the streets, saying who's won it, and of course we don't tell until the night. So all the 34 or 35 players that are nominated for all the players awards, including the women's game as well, and all the manager of the year awards, they'll all be there tomorrow night waiting to find out the results. So yeah, all going to plan. It was great turnout from the players in terms of voting, record turnout. We do it electronically nowadays, but we still go out to the clubs and get them to fill out their forms. So always interesting to see what the players' take on it is. It's always a bit different from the supporters, it's a bit different from the football writers. I think we all view things here in the media as well, up in the stands, we all view things a bit differently. So it's always interesting to see the guys who are down on that green grass and how they view things as well. So we'll find out tomorrow. We'll all enjoy it. A number of you guys are coming along as well, except for Daz, who can't make it, which is a bit sad, and he's going to take that, which is
even sadder
when you should be. It's even sadder, I was going to say that. It's a bit bizarre when he's a couple hundred yards away, but we'll enjoy the night without you, Daz.
Do you know what I was thinking though? I know he says that, but it doesn't tell anyone. But for his old pals, surely could do the old Charles Ingram. I'll name them, you cough when I say the right name, Fraser. Can I convince you?
I have a chronic cough, so I'll cough at everyone if you don't mind that one.
Right, so what we could do then, right, round the houses, you're not going Gordon Dalziel, so you're exempt. You can, you can go last. Mark Wilson, who wins and why?
Shankland, without doubt. Without doubt.
Not
I think
close.
Well, I think he's been I think he has been the consistent player, and I think that's the difference. I think O'Reilly started the season well. He was a standout in the first half of the season, but I just think Shankland's been consistent all the way through. The variety of goals he's scored, how he's led the line for a team finishing third. He's done it against the big teams as well. The others have got obviously an argument, but I think he's been the outrider from the beginning.
Hugh Keevins?
Shankland, unopposed for me.
Unopposed, so no one's even got it close.
I think that people always accuse us in the media of going for the goal scorers, the glory hunters, but let's be honest, he's been consistently outstanding and has scored terrific goals. He's in the Scotland squad. You take away Lawrence Shankland's goals, Hearts would be in bother. He's that important to them. I don't know what they do in the summer, whether they take big money for him or give him big money to stay with them, but for me, it's got to be him.
Roger Hanna, David Friel, does anyone disagree? Because this is getting a bit one-way traffic like.
I think it'll be close, Gordon. I genuinely don't. I think Matt O'Reilly's in with a major shout. I would have Shankland slightly ahead of him on my own selection, but no, I think that Fraser Wishart will keep this drama going until shortly before midnight tomorrow night. He told me earlier on, you had asked him who was player of the year, Mark had asked him who was player of the year, David asked him who was player of the year, I asked him who was player of the year, and Hugh asked him would there be enough wine in the table.
Listen, we've all got our different priorities, that's understandable. It better not be just before midnight. I was hoping to
Yeah, exactly.
I'm working, I was hoping for an earlier shout than that. But anyway, David Friel. So the guys in here so far, Shankland by a mile. Roger, not so sure, leaning a bit more towards Matt O'Reilly. What do you think?
I am going to make a case for Matt O'Reilly as well. Gordon, I think he was by far and away the best player in the first half of the season. I agree his form did dip slightly for a while, but he was being chased by Atletico Madrid at the time. He's got 14 goals, 16 assists. I think he's been Celtic's best player in the Champions League by a country mile as well. In the last few weeks he's come up with big goals against Rangers, Livingston, Aberdeen. I think we sometimes suffer from who's been playing well recently and not actually look at the bigger picture overall the whole season. I think Matt O'Reilly should be the player of the year.
Which means no one has thrown James Tavernier or Jack Butland in. Why?
Well, I mean, the goalkeeper, yes, he's been terrific, good enough to get Gareth Southgate to come and watch a Scottish match. But Rangers goalkeeper is well protected, and Rangers tend to dominate the games in which they play. I just think to make the goalkeeper above the guy that's got 28 goals for the season is stretching the imagination a bit. And Tavernier, yes, the numbers are fantastic for goals and assists. The question marks remain about his defensive capabilities. Again, I just think he pales into insignificance against what Shankland's been doing.
Right, go on then. You're not going to be there. You're going to be with Gary Barlow and the boys instead.
Right, Brian, if it's a minute to 12, I'll bring the 3 boys along with me.
If it's anything like last night and Ollie Murs doesn't turn up, maybe you'll be the stand-in act.
Yeah, maybe take that, and then I'll have to go and chap Fraser's door and say, can I get in?
Tail between your legs. Who's going to win?
I'm going with the boys with Shankland. I think the David Friel makes a great case for Matt O'Reilly. I just think that people will recognise the goal scorers more. Shankland, Scotland this year as well talked about. You know, even when it came to January, everybody was talking about this guy should be at Rangers or Celtic. Just shows you how well he's been doing. He's the captain of Hearts. I think he's been terrific. So I'll be tight, but I'm going for Shankland.
I think it's his all-round game as well. Hugh's right to point out Tavernier. The numbers alone aren't enough, I don't think, to get you the player of the year. I think it's got to be a bit more in depth than that, and I think that the players vote that way. That's the beauty about the PFAs. It's the players who vote for it, and they see, I think, Shankland's all-round game. So, you know, his goals have been fantastic. The variety, again, like I said earlier, have been great. They've been spread across the season. But his all-round game, you know, dropping into that kind of number 10 role for Hearts as well, captain of the side, a real leader. I think when you put all that together in the package, that's what makes him the standout in the 4.
Yeah, I mean, Roger, sometimes I know you're interested in the politics of it all, and your theory that there are players down the divisions and they might vote for a player in the team that they support and all that sort of stuff. You still going down that route? It's very cynical of you. Something I'd expect from Hugh Keevins, quite frankly.
Two things, Gordon. Number one, it's not the intelligent journalists that are voting for this award, it's the players. And players don't like goalies. So it's 31 years since a goalkeeper won the award. Players don't like goalies.
They like them enough to get them in the top 4.
Yeah, but you find that a lot of players down the leagues, like most of the country, they're either Celtic fans or Rangers fans. So the Rangers vote has been split between Tavernier and Butland. They can't decide who's been the better Rangers player. So when the vote's split like that, it means neither of them will come through and win the big prize. The Celtic supporting players will vote for O'Reilly. There'll be a bundle will vote for Shankland, and that's why I can't really split O'Reilly and Shankland for this award. I think Shankland's probably favourite for the Football Writers Award in a couple of weeks, but tomorrow night it would not surprise me if Matt O'Reilly won the award.
Fraser,
and it wouldn't bother me. He's had a great season.
Tell him why he's got it wrong.
Can I come in and defend our members? I had one journalist actually write a piece the other day about how players don't really think about who they vote for, and I thought, all right, okay, that's a sweeping generalisation. But Roger, the lower league players don't vote for the Premiership Player of the Year. They only vote for their divisional Player of the Year. So if you're playing for Stenhousemuir and you're a Rangers or a Celtic fan, you can't vote for them anyway. So
do your research, Hannah. Call yourself a journalist.
Further down, these boys I'm watching today, Ross County and Hibs, etc.
No, it's Chinese tune now.
I think you'll find, based on last night's tiebreaker, Hugh Keevins, the number of Scottish players in the Premiership is only about 35%.
Correct,
so I'm finding major holes in Roger Hanna's theory here.
Even, I agree, and I know it's a bugbear for Fraser, and annually a bugbear, because he doesn't like to think the big vote's rigged. It might be the case. It might be the case that Celtic players might say, "Not Shankland. He's not done us any favours."
Mark, you need to stick up for professional footballers everywhere here. Fraser's bound to. You used to be one. They think about it.
I think they do. I think they think of the overall package. Like I was just saying, it's not just about who you support or the numbers. I think players like to reward who has been the best, and they do think in depth about it.
Right, hold on. So when you were voting, if a Rangers player was brilliant, would you vote for him?
Yes,
he said he voted for Stephen Davis before.
Stephen Davis,
not a chance. Southampton.
He's told us it before.
Not a chance. Show me the vote. Fraser, is that true?
Still got the records.
I dig deep, Fraser, into those records.
I'll go and blow the cobwebs off the voting forms in those days. This is beginning to physically write the name on it.
It's beginning to sound more like
number for Gordon Dalziel.
Beginning to sound more like Watergate than PFA Scotland.
Yeah, I think we're getting a bit deeper than it really needs to be. Who's been the best player this season? Most of you think Shankland. A couple of shouts for Matt O'Reilly. What about the young player, Roger Hanna? Who'll take that?
It's going to be very tight. My own preference would be David Watson of Kilmarnock. I think he looks a very promising young player, and he's highlighted himself with a couple of big goals, a win at Celtic Park and an outstanding goal in that 5-2 win against St Mirren. Before I cast my own vote for the other award, I looked at Lennon Miller at Motherwell as well. But I think David Watson's played almost twice as many games as Lennon Miller in the Premiership this season, and that was the sort of deciding factor for me. He's played more football. He has played at a team that's finished in the top 6, will probably qualify for Europe. He's made an impact in those teams. He's scored goals. So for me, and listen, you could have gone for Lennon Miller, no problem. You could have gone for Lyle Cameron for me, no problem at all. It's impressed me any time I've seen him for Dundee. But David Watson would get my vote.
David Friel?
Yeah, I agree. I actually feel sorry for Lennon Miller because he's hardly old enough to shave, Gordon, and I think he'll be an absolute superstar. I think he'll go to the very, very top. I just feel David Watson over the course of the season has probably made more of an impact, just some big goals for Kilmarnock as well. I think he would be a worthy winner tomorrow night.
Interesting, you have to go back to Andy Robertson 2014, the last non-Old Firm Young Player of the Year. You'd have thought that would be the category that might lend itself a bit more. Tillman, Abada, Turnbull, Kent, Tierney won it loads, Jason Denier won it in that time. The only person that can keep that run going is Ross McCausland. Mark, can you see it?
McCausland, no, I don't think so. I don't think he's done enough. Listen, it always takes something special to break into a Celtic or a Rangers side, but I don't think he's really been a standout. For me, it would be Watson. I think when you look at him overall this season, guys have made a great argument there for him where his team's playing in the league. But some of his goals, remember that goal just at December up at Pittodrie, outstanding. I think he'd be a worthy winner.
If Lennon Miller had played a lot more games, I think he would have been a certainty, because he's the best talent in the country, young boy, no doubt about it. If I'm voting, I'm going for Lyle Cameron at Dundee.
I think if you are the best talent in the country, you should get it. And I do understand that he's played fewer games than David Watson, but my goodness, the quality in the games in which he does play, he's the best young player in the country, Lennon Miller.
Hard to argue with you, but I thought the boy at Dundee is just, every time I see him, he's getting better and better. I think he went out to Peterhead and loan, Montrose and loan. Am I correct in saying that? Come back.
He's done his homework.
No, I heard somebody talking about it yesterday. And for Dundee, first season up, finished top 6. I think he's been brilliant.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow. Fraser Wishart's got it all in hand. Don't worry about that. In the meantime, we've got big fish to fry this afternoon, because there are huge games up and down the country, up and down the Premiership. We're talking Europe, relegation, title race. It is all there, and we'll go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
15 minutes until kick-off in the 3 o'clock games all across the place. Massive fixtures this afternoon. We love this time of the season. It's easy for us because we can sit back and enjoy it, but if you're in the midst of it, I predict a tense afternoon ahead. Celtic Park certainly looks like it will be one of those. And Andrew, I know asking about the crowd can be a bit cliche, and Celtic Park tends to be quite loud anyway, but I just wonder, Brendan Rodgers spoke about it yesterday. I think that home defeat to Hearts, am I right in saying that coincided with the short time that there was no Green Brigade inside Celtic Park? Just with the finishing line and touching distance, it feels like that might have a big game atmosphere about it today.
Yeah, it definitely will have a big game atmosphere, and the Green Brigade will make themselves heard for this game as well. They'll want to try and will this team over the line. We know at this stage of the season that supporters can get a bit anxious, they can get a bit tetchy if teams don't start well, but Brendan Rodgers wants this Celtic support to stick with him, even if it's, not a goal in the first 10 minutes, not a goal in the first 20 minutes. He wants them to keep on believing in what they're doing, and if they can keep on doing that, he believes that the team and the fans can both help each other, and that could really help them to what would be a huge victory today. So the fans need to stay patient. They may need to stay patient, but the players need to play their part as well. They need to inspire this crowd. They need to give the crowd something to be excited about, something to get off their seats about. But you can hear already the atmosphere is building. The Celtic team making their way down the tunnel after warming up, being applauded down the tunnel at the moment. Not long to go until kick-off, and it will just continue to get louder here inside Celtic Park.
you seeing signs, Fraser, that Livingston could do this? I suppose other results can go against them, and they might run out of games and arithmetic. But could you see them winning again today? Could you see them keeping their part in this all going?
No, I don't see them winning today. I think Motherwell will get the 3 points, but that's the beauty of the split, is that Livingston know they're playing against the teams at the bottom half of the table. If they were sitting with games against Hearts, Aberdeen and Celtic or something to go after this, then Hearts, Rangers, Celtic, then of course you think you've got no chance. But if they were to win today, then all of a sudden just a wee bit jittery ahead of them. So it's the time of year where we're always looking at ifs, buts and maybes for all these teams, and even from Motherwell's point of view, I said it's an unlikely series of results, and it really is unlikely. But while it's unlikely and not impossible, sure, Kettlewell would just want to get the points to secure that status with a few games to go, because if they did lose today, let's say County and St Johnstone won, Motherwell are away to County next week, so all of a sudden just gets the nerves going a wee bit. But I don't think that will happen. I think Motherwell will win, but that's why this game's very important to both of them. I do think that Livingston as a team and as a club and David Martindale have kind of accepted their fate some time ago, so they might just come here and play with a bit of freedom and go and give it a real go and try and score some goals. So hopefully an interesting 90 minutes ahead. But I do think Motherwell will win, and I think it'll be the end for Livingston after 6 years in the top flight, which, to be fair to them as a club, is way beyond what they should be doing, given their size of a club.
No, not really. I think Messi isn't going to really change. We can only affect what we can affect, and that's the Motherwell game. So it's more about what we do. I'm not really looking elsewhere. I know it relies on results elsewhere, but I'm not going to lose any focus or energy on what can happen elsewhere. I think we can only really deal with ourselves, focus on ourselves and see where it takes us.
It's a 100th game in charge of St Mirren for Stephen Robinson, David Friel. You just look at what he did at Motherwell and now what he's done at a similarly sized club. Has he just got a real knack of this type of job in this league? Does he just know what it takes? Is that about the right recruitment? What's the key to that very consistent success?
Yeah, I think it's the right recruitment, Gordon, but I also think he just keeps things simple. When you listen to Stephen Robinson and listen to the players talking about working under him, there's nothing complicated about his style and what he asks of his players. He gets guys in positions that can do a job in, and I think his record of his 100 games at St Mirren has been phenomenal. I remember the day when he kind of jumped in the car. I think he arrived at St Mirren in the Morecambe club car, and I think there was some eyebrows raised because I don't think he'd pulled up any trees down there. But look, it's been an inspired appointment. He's done very, very well, and if he can win today, you've got to think that European football is pretty much secure for St Mirren. And on a milestone day for him, a landmark day for him, his 100th appearance, that would be a huge achievement for the club. And a great achievement though if it goes to Tony Docherty in his first season in charge, that's for sure. Let's hear from Stephen Robinson then ahead of that 100th game in charge of St Mirren.
First and foremost, we won't make excuses about the pitch. I don't live in the excuse mentality. It's the same for both teams. So we'll go and we'll do our very best. In terms of Tony, I think he's been fantastic. He's rightly been nominated for Manager of the Year. He's had a fantastic season, his first year in management. It doesn't get any better than that. So Tony should retire now. So he's done really, really well. He's somebody I have a lot of respect for. He's obviously been in the game. Even though it's only his first year in management, he's been in the game a long time, worked under very good managers with Derek obviously for a long time. So yeah, delighted for him. It just shows there's a lot of talented Scottish football managers out there and UK football managers.
Still intrigued by goings on at Easter Road, Roger. Hannah, Hibs up in Dingwall today. You're going to watch them, and it keeps coming back to that statement. They did well to get the win against St Johnstone last week. They were comfortable within that, but still the statement called for an upturn in results. Otherwise it looked like Nick Montgomery's position might come into question. So what does that mean? You look at the remaining couple of fixtures that Hibs have.
Well, as I said at the top of the show, Gordon, they'll need to finish 7th at a minimum. They might need to win all 5 games after this split to keep Nick Montgomery in a job. That was a rather ominous statement. I think some people thought Nick Montgomery might go immediately after that statement because it wasn't exactly a ringing endorsement of his managerial capabilities. So it'll be fascinating to see if he can stage some sort of revival. There is what I would describe as the smallest ever Hibernian support that I've seen at a game of football. They are in a little section on the far side. They haven't even been given that section behind the goals that away support traditionally get. They had a huge support at Fir Park that day. They missed out in the top 6, if you remember. and I think that's probably disillusioned quite a lot of Hibernian supporters. They didn't have nearly as many at Perth last week, and it is a very small smattering of support on the far side here today. It tells you where Hibs are, at this moment in time. As for County, if they are going to stage a successful survival bid this season, they're going to have to do it here. 3 of their last 4 games are here in Dingwall. You saw what they can do here when they beat Rangers, and if they can get results against Hibs today, Motherwell next week, and Aberdeen on the final Sunday of the season, they might just get out of this.
That's one to watch with interest. Aberdeen against St Johnstone. Dave Galloway, it's like Aberdeen are trying to set a record for the most men who can take charge of the team in one season, but obviously it's a more serious matter with Peter leaving, and we wish him well. What's the feeling there? Because Roger Hanna speaks about Hibs fans almost kind of switching off and the season petering out. Is it similar at Aberdeen, or how does it differ?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the place today, Gordon. Wide open spaces as I look round Pittodrie Stadium. Right now I think everybody would just be glad, everybody of an Aberdeen persuasion would just be glad to see what's been such a frustrating, such an inconsistent campaign, just come to an end. Incidentally, Peter leaving, I'm told he's at home now, so all the very best to him for a swift recovery. 3 points for Aberdeen would certainly be something for him to cheer about, wouldn't it? And it would also maintain a decent run of form after dreadful performance in defeat to Dundee several weeks ago. It's almost like a reset button's been pushed, and there's been an upward curve since then for the Dons. Quick look at St Johnstone, though, they just can't seem to get out of the bit. They were bottom of the Premiership when Craig Levein took over, but if they don't get a result here this afternoon, they could well find themselves in the relegation playoff place and running out of games. And in a week that saw a club takeover by US businessman Adam Webb agreed, that would be, a significant setback.
The pre-match talking is pretty much done. Kick-offs are coming next, and we're going back to Celtic Park.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The scene is set across the country. Celtic Park is our focus for the next minute or so. Andrew McLean will take us up to kick-off.
Yeah, the team's just making their way out the tunnel at the moment. We're getting to that point of the season where every game is bigger than the last. The pressure is greater in each game. The consequences are greater as well. These players, as they make their way onto the pitch, they'll be well aware of that. Celtic know how big a win it'll be if they can stretch that gap on Rangers to 6 points, put on that scoreboard pressure, as Brendan Rodgers called it yesterday, and make sure they have at the very least a 3-point advantage going into next weekend's Old Firm game at Ibrox. James Forrest, one of the men out there, he's the man in form for Celtic. He'll be looking to turn it on in front of this home crowd. It's his first start at Celtic Park since the 1st of November, so he will be looking forward to getting out in front of this home crowd for as long as he can today. We're likely to see Daisen Maeda off the bench as well. His season looked over, didn't it? It was that tendon injury in his hamstring. It didn't look as if he'd play again, but you'd expect he could get some vital minutes today ahead of a big game against Rangers next weekend. But Celtic up against the Hearts team, who will coast to third place, although it's actually not mathematically secure yet, but it could well happen this weekend. I don't think they'll have a lack of motivation either. They'll be keen to get the better of Celtic for the third time this season. There was of course that 2-0 win here in December, followed by a 2-0 win at Tynecastle earlier on this year that had plenty of VAR drama. Celtic just breaking away into their huddle at the moment. Their starting lineup is unchanged from the win at Dens Park against Dundee. It's Joe Hart in goal for them. The back four, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales and Greg Taylor. The midfield three, Callum McGregor, Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate. It's Nicholas Kuhn and James Forrest either side of Kyogo. The substitutes for them, Bain, Palma, Ida, Yang, Nawrocki, Iwata, Bernardo, Maeda and Ralston. Hearts also unchanged, so it means Xander Clark stays in goal ahead of Craig Gordon. It's Dexter Limbakisa that will be the right wing back, Alex Cochrane the left wing back, Stephen Kingsley, Frankie Kent and Kai Rolls are those three central defenders. In midfield, George Grant, Cammy Devlin, Benny Beningame, and it's going to be Kenny Vargas supporting Lawrence Shankland up top. The substitutes, Gordon, Oda, Atkinson, Forrest, Mackay, Civic, Denham, Fraser and Tagawa. The referee for this one, Kevin Clancy. The VAR, Nick Walsh. It's Cammy Devlin that's standing over the ball at the moment, and we are just getting underway at Celtic Park.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. For men's health, get advice and private prescriptions from qualified pharmacists.
Come on then, there's only a couple of weeks left of the season. Let's see if you can get some predictions right. We've tried and tried every single week. What does the ACCA look like this afternoon, Hugh Keevins?
A nervy, tension-filled Celtic Park, 2-1 Celtic. Motherwell will beat Livingston. Dundee, St Mirren a draw. Hibs will win in Dingwall, and Aberdeen will beat St Johnstone at Pittodrie.
I'm going for all home wins.
That's easy.
Week. Yeah.
Celtic, Motherwell, Dundee, Hibs, and I'm going for St Johnstone.
2 aways for Gordon Dalziel. We will see. Tune in with interest to early big chance for Hearts. That's not what Brendan Rodgers would have wanted as a start to this game. Huge. It was Shankland's shot blocked, then it hits the outside of the post for a corner. So Hearts starting the game quickly.
I did say nervy, tension filled. That's nervy and tension filled. Back to the old failing for Celtic of recent times. Couldn't keep pigeons out of a loft.
Well, it didn't go in. So they've kept it.
So the pigeon just came and then just kind of went round to the loft.
Well, we don't know how that chance came about. You know,
it was well worked into the box down the right hand side and then blocked away for a corner. So.
And that's the danger that faced Celtic today, because Hearts can carve you open without you really making any mistakes. They can cause you problems. So they've obviously done that. Started well. Not the start Brendan Rodgers envisaged.
Anyway, still goalless. Just an early sign from Hearts that they are up for this one. Some of the games probably haven't even kicked off yet by the time Lawrence Shankland had that chance. There's a delayed start at David Friel's game. Dundee St Mirren is just now underway, so a couple of minutes past 3. A St Mirren corner after 10 seconds. Everybody's starting quickly, trying to make things happen. There are very few games that don't, in fact there are none that don't have anything riding on them. Really big fixtures. You sometimes feel like you don't want to be saying it for dramatic effect, but it is really true. You look at them all, they've either got relegation, Europe or the title race at stake. So plenty to get through on today's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. We are here until 6 o'clock. Sit back and enjoy whatever you're doing. If you find yourselves wanting involved, and I hope you do, please tweet at Clyde SSB all afternoon, and I will let you know when it's time to pick up the phones. Usually round about 5 o'clock when the games are all said and done. Not only will we look back on today's action, we will preview tomorrow as well, because tomorrow is huge in its own right, but of course the tone will be set depending on what happens at Celtic Park. Celtic now have a corner. They've gone up the other side. Early chance Motherwell. Spittle played in Nicholson. His shot hit the side netting. So I like it. It's lively. We just need an early goal.
Yeah, as a Motherwell fan, you don't seriously think you're still
not a
looking
chance
over your shoulders, do you?
Not a chance.
Yous are safe.
You just prefer it to be official. That's
not a chance unless Ross County and St Johnstone won today and Motherwell lost. Not a chance.
And we've got a goal at Celtic Park, but which way is it gone?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's gone to the hosts. It's Kyogo with a header. Hatate's looped ball back into the box. The initial corner cleared. Hatate back in, and there is that man Kyogo criticism that he's not scored as many as he has in previous seasons, but there are a fair few big goals in there, and this could be one of them. Hugh Keevins.
In the Glasgow vernacular, you should get the jail if you don't go on and win that match now. The 60,000 there to see Celtic get themselves a boost before the Rangers game, and Kyogo, that's back to the days when you could rely on Kyogo. This season the Celtic fans have been upset because they can't rely on Kyogo, but he has come alive there, and that's, Brendan Rodgers has tried soundbite stimulation. He's spoken about the scoreboard pressure. He's spoken about this being the time of the year.
VAR check for a possible offside.
Keep talking to you.
Yeah. It's almost like
keep it going.
Everyone talks about the downside of VAR and the fans. Does no one think about us in here in the Clyde One Super Scoreboard studio? I have tongue in cheek because I appreciate it's much more important for fans.
Ironically, Brendan Rodgers on the back pages of the newspapers this morning praising the a decision to have VAR make public their mistakes. Very appreciative of VAR, and now he's going to have to refresh his opinion.
Long wait, boos from the Celtic fans as the wait goes on, and the goal is given. Celtic lead Hearts by 1-0.
What a start! What a start! And you're right, Gordon. Kyogo, this is the time of the season that the Celtic fans and the manager really need him. And to be fair to the lad, he produces season in, season out. He's been terrific for Celtic. He's a real threat. It was important that Celtic got the first goal today, just to settle the nerves a little bit. Look, it's not done and dusted, because Hearts have shown that they've got a threat, especially with Shankland. But that's a terrific start from Celtic.
I don't think there's any doubt that Kyogo hasn't been the same player as he has been in previous seasons. But you've got to say, in the big games, where you really need him, he stands up. And today is a big afternoon, and he's got them off to a great start. Something to build on for Celtic. I think they needed that today, because it is a nervy occasion, no doubt about it, and it just settles everybody about the stadium.
You hear people on this phone and Celtic fans coming on during the week, Mark, and talking about, I played up front before Kyogo, but I think you make a great point. They're seeing it's the big games. See, when you need him, he seems to deliver.
Well, it's a 12th league goal of the season. He's obviously got some in the Champions League and so on, but a 12th league goal of the season for Kyogo, and it does have Celtic one up already. And is that just the start, Mark Wilson, that you need just to settle the nerves? Because it's inevitable it's going to be nervous at this time of the season.
Well, look, Celtic Park is a difficult
corner now, end-to-end stuff. Liam Scales has put one out for a corner.
Well, it's a difficult place to play. Everybody thinks it's easy, but when you go past that 10, 15, 20 minute mark and you've not scored, and there's the murmurings around the stadium, of course nerves build. But that just gets heightened at this point of the season when you've got Hearts coming. So settles everybody. Good game.
Not just the top flight today, remember, big games everywhere. Stirling Albion 0, Annan 1. Both of them, it's a straight shootout to avoid the relegation playoff spots. So Annan with the advantage there. Cove 0, Edinburgh City 1. Let's do this, Hugh, before we get any further.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Can you tell me the last 7 Hearts players to score against Celtic who had played for an Old Firm side in their career? The last 7 Hearts players to score against Celtic who have played for an Old Firm team in their career.
Good one. At Clyde SSB. At Clyde SSB. Get all your guesses in on
good.
One tweet. Write them all down. It's a race, remember, so try and get them in as fast as you can and see what you can come up with. Bruce Anderson's leaving Livy at the end of the season. Scored last weekend. He's had a great chance at Fir Park, clean through actually, but then a great challenge by Dan Casey just as he was about to pull the trigger, and Motherwell defend it well on this occasion. Still goalless there, goalless everywhere in the top flight, with the notable exception of Celtic Park, where Kyogo has Hearts 1 up. Celtic 1 up, I should say.
But it does sound that the proverbial end-to-end game. So I think we're in for a day of high drama at Celtic Park.
Stephen Kelly's now inches wide with the shots after breaking forward from inside his own half. Good tempo to that one. Livy look bang up for it. I think Stephen Kelly's another one that's out of contract, is he? I'd have to double check. So I'm always interested in which players leave their club but stay in our division, if that makes sense. I'd imagine there'd be a few.
Like Spittle, you mean?
Yeah, but like Bruce Anderson as an example. Surely he'll have some offers from our Premiership, no?
Well, it's usually the teams coming up sometimes have a look at the ones that are passing them the way down. But I don't know if Dundee United
Anderson could aim a bit higher.
You think so?
Dundee United?
Well, they're a bit of an outlier because they're such a big club, but generally I think there are a couple of top 6 teams would take a wee look, no?
You looking into St Mirren, Kilmarnock, that sort of a that's a good shout, Gordon. I don't really know, I can't answer that. I've not seen enough of Bruce to make that comment, but he's certainly a decent player if you take him off the penalty kicks.
It's corner after corner for St Mirren, shooting down the hill, of course. they've got that advantage. Stoppage at Celtic Park though. Kyogo's taken a knock in the face from Frankie Kent during a challenge. Brendan Rodgers will obviously be hopeful he's okay. He's off getting treatment. He's the man that's made the difference in this fixture so far today. It's his header. And it's an interesting offside VAR, because initially I think people were maybe wondering why, but I think the debate is, was Kyogo beyond Xander Clark? There was a Hearts player back on the line, but as we all know, once the goalie comes beyond that, so I think that was the question mark, and maybe that's why it was a bit more of a delicate one. So when the ball, Xander Clark punches the initial corner, so he's out his goal, and when the ball comes back in, was Kyogo beyond Xander Clark? I think that's what the debate was. What a save from Joe Hart. Hearts are not out of this by any means. They're giving this a real good goal. Cammy Devlin doesn't score too many, but he's obviously got the feeling for it in recent weeks. It's sat up nicely for him in the box, and high to his left went Joe Hart to deny him. Good game.
Yeah, well, Hearts have been playing consistently well, unless they're playing Rangers, and they have Celtic's measure, because the results so far show you they have Celtic's measure. So, and Shankland has yet to score, which I would think will do
this afternoon.
Yeah,
you think Shankland will score?
Yeah.
Hugh said 2-1 to Celtic. He's now going further. He's predicting the individual goal scorers.
I'll tell you what, I'll take a bout of you if you get that right. There you go.
You don't think Shankland will score?
I don't think Hearts will score.
Ooh.
There you go. Well, how come Archie's okay to you and you went, oh? Well, because I've had two chances.
Peterhead 1, Dumbarton 0.
It's very early to go on Hearts won't score.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. You're a master of going early. You usually go at 5-3.
Well,
it's not happening in the tunnel here this afternoon.
I'd have Kuhn off now.
Anyway, Celtic do lead. Hearts have had their chances. That's the way we like the games to start, nice and open and lots going on.
So
good counter attack from Celtic. O'Reilly, Forrest involved. Forrest across the box, but just ahead of Kyogo.
Sounds a great game. I think that's what we expected. When you've got the third place team come to Celtic Park who've already won there, I think the Celtic fans going along today would expect a tough opening to this game. The goal settles things down from a Celtic point of view, but Hearts have got good players at the top end of the pitch.
Do you think they come with a different mindset, Mark? Because they're going to finish third in the league, right? They've already beaten Celtic, as we touched on. But usually when you go there, say for instance they were playing for second place, would they have sat in on the counter attack? Whereas they're probably more freely, a bit freer going open, getting players, and obviously causing some problems so far.
Yeah, well, a couple of good chances in the opening 10 minutes tells you that they're a bit open and enjoying their afternoon.
It's been a while, is it? The Hearts have got a bit about them. They've been at Celtic Park earlier in the season and won, so it's not all dictated to by the freedom of third place, is it?
No, but I'm just wondering what sort of tactics they set out when they went there and won. You can sit nice and tight and compact, and you've got the players to go and hit in the counter and still win the game. By the sounds of it this afternoon, they're sort of maybe early on committing more players forward than they normally would do.
It's a good game, that's for sure. Now Cameron Carter-Vickers has headed over from Matt O'Reilly's corner, so it really is all happening at Celtic Park. Celtic do have that crucial lead as it stands. It's maybe a bit early to be saying that, but we'll go for it anyway. 3:15 on a Saturday afternoon. Celtic would be 6 points ahead, and Rangers would have to respond tomorrow. But Hearts are very, very much in this game, and let's be honest, if it wasn't for a brilliant save from Joe Hart, Hearts might be level.
Joe Hart's been excellent. Took criticism early on in the season. There was a lot of talk around replacing the goalkeeper, and since his announcement that he was retiring, he has been outstanding. I feel it's still a bit iffy at cross balls, and that's a big part of a goalkeeper's game, but some big saves in the big games. Another one early on in this game, terrific. Yeah, he's going to be a big player from now to the end of the season.
He's looking for the retirement to be sprinkled with stardust, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's looking to have a league title, possibly a Scottish Cup. An illustrious career, Joe Hart, but he has made a sensational save to keep Celtic in it.
They had an evening with Joe Hart. Did you see that a couple of weeks ago?
No.
An evening at Celtic Park, and all the players were down there in the front row, and he was up on stage, and it sounded a bit like This Is Your Life, Hugh. Remember? Naturally, he didn't get presented with a big red book, but he must have a few tales to tell.
Oh.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 0, Hibs 1, and although Hibs have had their issues this season, some really eye-catching performances. Myzian Mailida again, his goal scoring record since he came, I think that is his 9th since he joined Hibs in January. Didn't play his first game until the 24th of January, and he scored 9 since then. He's been a real threat. It was the ball off the post, he put the rebound in, and another small sigh of relief for Nick Montgomery. He's not out the woods by any means, and it's going to go to VAR because Ross County are claiming for a handball in the box before the goal, but nevertheless it looks like Hibs have taken the lead.
Huge goal for Clyde as well, 1-0 against Elgin City on a day when they can secure their place in the SPFL and not have to worry about having a playoff to determine whether they're still an SPFL club or not. So Liam Scullion, 1-0.
You're loving that today, Hugh. Clyde,
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
You've said to Colley, look, I'll give you a shout out, I'll give you a lot of confidence if I don't need to buy you a wedding present. And it's certainly working.
That's a foul calumny.
I wondered why he'd been mentioning it so often in the last few weeks.
100%.
So when did he become so interested in the bottom of League 2?
Yeah, I love the Clyde, I love the bully wee.
See, I'm old enough to remember when Clyde won trophies. I was alive when they won the Scottish Cup. So
I'm old enough to I've played at Shawfield.
Goal given, Hibs do lead by a goal to 0.
The dog track.
Dog track, yeah. I'll tell you what,
Terrible
I remember
place.
the Greyhound. 5 yards I gave it, boom, like Alan Wells, round that bend.
I actually think late on in this, we're obviously really into the seriousness of the games today, because 17 minutes past 3 is actually a record for this season. That's the longest it's taken you to talk about yourself and lie.
Oh no, I've been talking to Mark while you've been chatting away.
Yeah, but on air, I mean.
On
I'm
air,
not really interested in what you say
To
privately.
be fair, probably in a long while that's my first lie. It was the hair I beat.
Speaking about the hair, what about this guy? How white this guy's hair is looking now?
But listen,
I'm
that's
getting a lot of good feedback, boys.
That's what two sunbeds in 3 days will do to you.
Don't start that
looking
nonsense.
fairly bronzed.
Are radioactive.
Not at all. Not
You were
at
in
all.
here on Thursday.
It's a wee bit of cream.
You admitted you had popped into your local tan canaria on your way to the show, and I can guarantee I would put my mortgage on you've been back.
No, I've not.
That is not Thursday's colour.
No, I'm just feeling.
How many
bit,
minutes was it?
I'm
yesterday?
feeling a bit flushed. If I'm honest. You know what they say? If you can't tone your body, tan it. That's what they say.
Who said that?
I've just said.
He said a few good sayings this week. I like he's winning Thursday.
He's been back. Look at that face.
Yeah, without doubt.
I've sort of a heavy jaw. It's warm in here. I've got to say.
It's your hands. Look how brown the hands are.
So hold on a minute.
It's in there after sun in here.
When it's warm inside, does your hair go whiter? Because that doesn't really explain
Do you honestly think a sunbed's going to whiten my hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't be so
Certainly has.
silly.
Certainly has.
I was standing at the front door when he came out of his car, and I
Looking
thought,
like the guy off of what do you call him? David Dickinson.
yeah.
Here he comes.
Ginger wee.
Anyway, there's a VAR check for a handball against Michael Devlin of Livy. Gents cross hit him. He was only a yard away, but as we've seen, our refs don't seem to be that bothered by proximity if the hand is in an outstretched position and so on. It's taken a couple of minutes. Crowd are booing. I actually think Fraser Wishart's probably booing. You know, he doesn't like. I can see right through Fraser here, because he doesn't like VAR. Mm-hmm. And is Michael Devlin not the chairman or something of the PFA? I can see what's happening. He calls himself a Motherwell legend, right? And he's begging for this penalty not to be given.
Listen, let's get facts here. He's the only one that calls himself a Motherwell legend.
I call him it as well.
I do. So you use two years.
Do you know anyone who does like VAR?
Oh, but Fraser particularly doesn't. I think.
I just think it's.
Well, yeah, I do. Brendan Rodgers, you said this morning, was mentioning it. Philippe Clement gave it a huge ringing endorsement yesterday. His answer was about 90 seconds long. Penalty Motherwell. Harsh, according to Fraser, but penalty given. David Monroe goes to the screen, and you would imagine.
Is it Bear? No, Spittle will take it.
Bear will probably take it.
He missed it. Did he not miss one, Dundee?
He did.
Right, so he can't take it.
Why?
I would let Spittle take that.
Would you?
Yeah, he's a better ball striker.
His
than
form's dipped a bit as well since
Theo
he announced
Bair.
he was going to Hearts, so we'll see. It is Theo Bair to take.
Is it? He'll miss.
This is a guy that sits and watches his highlights reel topless
Oh,
with his girlfriend
yeah.
and films it.
remember that.
Come on, he's like shot on confidence. He'll be taking it, no
They'll
problem.
go up all night if he scores.
Steady.
That was the most embarrassing piece of footage.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Did I show you?
Yeah.
I do think someone pointed out, I think it might have been kind of tongue in cheek. I think it's like a TikTok trend. I hope it was tongue in cheek. I still don't know if I would do it myself, but
He may
yeah,
be,
I think it was.
He may be unfamiliar with the expression, but if he was chocolate, he'd eat himself.
Anyway, it is going to be Theo Bair that takes.
He's not a good ball striker.
Alright, calm down.
I hope he scores, but I don't think he's a good ball striker. He'll sclaff it. There you go.
Down the middle. I'm going.
Taking ages.
I think down the middle.
Well, remember his goal at home to Livingston earlier in
Yeah,
the season when
brilliant
he
goal.
chopped back and dinked the goalkeeper
Oh, he's
from the tight
brilliant at
angle.
that, but-
Here he steps up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I don't know if Feed the Bear works. Can you be fed from the penalty spot? Oh, they're flying in. We've got 3 goals. Theo Bair first up. Now it's
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Kyogo again. It's that time of the season when you need your big players to step up, and it looks like he has. A lovely deep cross. It's a first time finish. Guided the side foot volley home. Celtic lead Hearts by 2-0.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Out of nowhere, Ross County are level. Jan Danda's leaving in the summer, but a good cross, dreadful header, Rocky Bashiri, easy finish, Simon Murray. They've not been in the game, but they are level. What a period that was.
Well,
Celtic seems an obvious place to start. Celtic 2, Kyogo 2, Hearts 0.
They have responded to what Brendan Rodgers said about this being the time of the season when Celtic come alive. They have responded to what Brendan Rodgers said about get your trophy heads on, and they have paid attention to the scoreboard pressure. 2 up. Now, I can exaggerate at times, but if you failed to win this match now, it has an appalling look about it.
Well, we saw 2-0 up at the ends, and it doesn't always go that way, but I would accept this is Celtic Park and so on. And the votes are in. Fraser Wishart confirmed it. It can't be changed now. But this pass from Matt O'Reilly is the type of ball that has seen him in the running for that award tomorrow night. He's about 40 yards out. It's one of those curling ones over the Hearts defence. No one can get there. And a real tidy finish from that man Kyogo.
Yeah, Riley certainly got that in his locker. David Frill made a good case from him. Look, I think everybody's thought that he's went off it a little bit since obviously the transfer speculation that was surrounding him, which is can happen to players, no doubt in that. But the one thing you got to say, the start of the season up until then, he was absolutely brilliant. He scored important goals, and then obviously he's got a terrific assist today in a very important game leading up to next weekend.
Yeah, that's Kyogo up to 13. That moves him on to the same league tally as Matt O'Reilly. He's one behind Dessers, Miovski and Bair. But like we said, Mark, there are 2 ways of looking at it. You always want volume. You always want as many as possible. But if you need to pick your moments, then that's a nice way to do it as well.
Yeah, and the big ones, and come alive at this time of the season. That's what you want from your main man. And you might not be done yet. 2 goals already in the opening 25 minutes, on for the hat-trick. Exactly what you want at this time of the season. But I think by the sounds at the tempo that Celtic are playing it will please Brendan Rodgers most. And you know, you play at that high tempo, you create chances, you wear the opposition down, and when you've got a guy like Kyogo top end to put them away, then this game could be done and dusted by half time if they get things right.
But I think you said a good point today, Mark. It's been a long time waiting, but you were talking about the midfield players having to contribute a little bit more, and I totally agree with you. And obviously Matt O'Reilly has stepped up to the mark. McGregor's starting to get more fitness, massive player going forward. Hatate starting to get more fitness, brilliant midfield player. So things are just starting to click for Celtic just now.
If you wanted one player to come alive, to use the Brendan Rodgers ism, it would be Kyogo, wouldn't it? The matches, Rangers to come, Kilmarnock away, St Mirren at home, and a cup final. You'd want Kyogo to look like today's Kyogo.
Also the kind of hallmarks of what that looks like, Mark, all season long. callers, other fans on social media, pundits, everybody says he's at his best when he's on the last shoulder of the defender. This is a dream ball from Matt O'Reilly. It's genuinely one of the best passes you'll see in a while. But Kyogo's on the shoulder, the movement, he starts it, he's slightly offside to begin with, as he often is, comes back, and it's exactly where Celtic fans want to see him, basically.
Well, we've heard so much analysis, haven't we, this season from supporters calling into the show, and even Brendan Rodgers has touched on it, how Kyogo plays. Is he playing different? Is he making the runs? And when he is making the runs, the midfield aren't playing the passes. But Matt O'Reilly is certainly someone with the vision to play it, and you just need to execute it properly. But if you think about some fantastic Kyogo goals through the years, this is right at the top drawer. He makes a run and he's got Matt O'Reilly to find him. Terrific way to add to your first goal.
Accies are 2 up against Kelty Hearts. Jake Hasty with the goal. Of course, League One really today is all about, well, certainly at the top is all about Falkirk. Can they go invincible? It's still goalless, I think, in that one. Against Alloa, you would expect them to do it, and what a great achievement it would be. But we look forward to the playoffs. Check in on that teaser if we can, Hugh.
Okay, can you tell me the last 7 players to have scored for Hearts against Celtic who also played for an Old Firm side in their career? The last 7 Hearts players to score against Celtic who have also played for an Old Firm side in their career.
I can tell you there's only one person who's got them all right so far, so that means there is room, certainly, to get on that podium. Matthew wants to throw in some names, Hugh. Let's try and eliminate some wrong ones. Paul Hartley?
Not there.
Okay, what about Stephen Presley?
Not there.
An old teammate of yours, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, Elvis, great guy. Only wore the finest attire. Used to come in all the time. Handmade shoes, he used to say. We were all, coming in with trainers like me and Daz has got on. He would have his handmade leather shoes and his cravat.
He's got a bit of class about it.
He was once voted second best dressed man in Scotland.
What do you mean second to one?
I think it was David Tennant. So we used to always give him a bit of stick for that.
Seriously?
I'm pretty sure it was Doctor Who that beat him.
Stephen Presley second. I'm going to look this up.
Oh, he held on to that.
That's the most lukewarm accolade of all time, isn't it?
At least he was in the running. You should have seen some of the gear some of the boys were wearing in that dressing room. Elvis certainly stood out. Bit of class.
I tell you, I can't find
any
evidence of it.
Don't tell me he's made that up. And I don't even know where you would vote for that.
Exactly.
Some Scottish magazine, GQ.
No, producer Michael's got your back.
Yeah, have you? Yes, Michael.
So there we go. As according to what? Like Vogue?
The Daily
Presumably
Record.
not.
I've got to say, I seen a photograph of him the other day. I think he's let his dress says go a wee bit.
Where is he? In the south coast of
I don't know where he is. Yeah, but I'm sure
Where is he? Bournemouth? Brentford. Oh, he's in London.
Yeah. I know it's expensive in London, but come on.
You're right. Second place, Dario Franchitti, the
was it
IndyCar driver, was third. No, he was in third.
He was in third.
Just in case you really needed to know, Fraser Wishart said you were third. Gordon Dale, he's not seen you in your frustrated PE teacher get up that you come in here.
I was a bit of trendy.
By the way, he's upgraded now. Have you seen the bottoms he wears now?
You're liking them, innit?
It is Zara.
By the way, I've got the blue ones as well.
Old Zara jogging bottoms, smart casual.
Beautiful.
I had to tell Scott Allen my story last night of being in H&M when the lady came over and said to me, "Are you alright?" When I tried to explore the fashion world and all I got was, "Are you alright?"
I tell you what, in terms of the live stream, no offence, I love you both, but what an upgrade that was for you two on Thursday to Scott Allen last night.
Was he looking well groomed? Was he?
Yeah.
The hair was swept back, the designer gear was
looking
bang on. It just
we
took it up a notch.
Trapped in between Gordon Duncan
listen, do
and
not
Scott
lump me in
Allen.
with that.
It was like, I said to him, it's like being in the middle of a
Is he been to Turkey?
No, he doesn't need that.
Has he been to Turkey for the hair?
Yeah,
he's got long locks.
Because that's what normally happens.
He's always kind of long, swept back arse.
It looks as if he.
But hold on a minute. Will he look like Hugh and I when he's 60, 70 odds, right? When I was, just Scott Allen.
What a thought for the poor boy.
When I was 30 odds, I was a darling. Right?
I saw you on the t-shirt, remember?
Exactly.
With your face on it. I wasn't a darling.
I was a darling, mate.
No.
You've
Actually
no
says
idea.
that with a straight
I know,
face.
He does.
yeah.
He believes it.
It's absolutely outrageous.
I was a pin-up of Hamilton Palace.
I thought there were highlights in Scott Allen's hair, I have to say.
There you go,
He was looking top drawer, I have to say. But anyway, back to the football this afternoon. No other Scottish goals to tell you about. That Jake Hasty one, it was the most recent.
We're way off with this first half teaser. We thought we had 7.
I gave you some help there. You know, no Stephen Presley. What was the other one we said? No. What's the other name again?
Webster.
Andy Webster's not correct either.
Okay.
And Lee Wallace isn't correct.
He's not correct either. No Lee Wallace. No.
Okay.
Stephen Naismith.
Also no. Which I'm surprised at that.
Yeah.
I remember him being heavily involved. Did not like stamp on Scott Brown, or he kicked Scott Brown or something.
Oh, I've got one.
And he was.
I've got one.
Shout it out.
I'm not. Did I coach him?
What sort of question is that?
Oh,
did you coach him?
I know who it is.
100%.
I'm honestly thinking I don't know who that is on this list, but whatever.
Seriously.
With the look in Hugh's face, it's no.
Who are you thinking of?
Barry Mackay.
Oh, right, no. Did I coach him? Yeah, that's going to help. All the listeners are going to go, oh yeah, I know who that must be.
No, I don't want to give clues away.
I think you sometimes forget we're actually meant to be talking to other people, like not just the four of us in here.
Yeah,
you forget that sometimes.
I think he genuinely does.
People actually listen.
Anyway, right, still Celtic 2, Hearts 0. It's been a really fast start. Hearts have had chances, that's the thing, but Celtic have been clinical, and in particular Kyogo has been clinical. As Hugh Keevins says, if Celtic were to handpick someone to come to the Boyle in the month of May, they might just choose him, given what he's been capable of in front of goal in recent seasons. Even this season he's still shown it in games against Rangers, and in case you hadn't heard, there is one of them just around the corner. So let's see what Celtic can do in the remainder of this one. Ross County are back on level terms against Hibs. Motherwell lead. Yet another handball penalty given out in the Premiership this season. Theo Bair took it. Didn't do enough to go in the final 4, as we spoke about, for what we call Fraser's Award tomorrow, Gordon, but he was in Team of the Year, and it's just a great story, that, isn't it? Obviously for him and the hard work, the staff at Motherwell, the work they've done with him. Dig out social media tweets, dig out the articles from when this guy signed. 1 goal at St Johnstone. Motherwell are going to try and replace Kevin Van Veen with a guy that scored once for St Johnstone. Now he's in Team of the Year and 14 league goals for the season.
He certainly had a lot of doubters when he came to Fir Park, no doubt about that. And probably, if I'm honest, I'll say that I was one of them. Even when he scored his first goal up at Dens in the first half, and then I watched his performances, I thought, no, he's not got to cut it as a centre forward for Motherwell. But all credit to the guy, he's been brilliant.
Bit of drama there, because Scott Pittman has scored with a header, disallowed by the assistant for a foul by Bruce Anderson on Paul McGinn. Late flag, but I suppose that's what they're told to do. Fraser says it looked like the right decision, but the Livy bench are not happy, so we'll keep an eye and see if there is anything doing there. Oh, the Invincibles, Falkirk 0, Alloa 1.
Oh dear.
And it's Connor Salmon of all people who'd gone and scored the goal. You do not want to let it slip on the last day of the season.
Then get manager of the year.
I know your priority is getting up and all that sort of stuff, but come on.
Campbell speech will be tucked away if you're John McGlynn.
The votes are in, of course, but anyway.
One thing you're going to
backing them all season to go on and get it.
Yeah, that'd be a horrible thing, but you know, at this time of the year, we're hearing stories of indifference all over the place. You know, the Hibs fans aren't going to the game today in Dingwall. The Aberdeen fans, Dave Galloway talking about big gaps in the crowd. Falkirk had a record, or have today, a record attendance for the Falkirk Stadium of over 7,000 people.
Well, that's what I mean. There's no indifference there, because they've turned up and they are chasing this record, aren't they?
The allegation will be that the players have been partying. Well, there's only one way to answer the allegation, that's to score 2 goals.
I suppose a draw would do it, of course. It would keep the unbeaten run going, but as it stands, Alloa are going to break that run on the final day of the season. Still a long way to go.
I was going to mention about the PFAs. One bit I know you'll miss. You love it every year.
Yeah.
Fraser's speech.
Oh my God. By the way, Take That will have sang the first 4 songs, and Fraser will still be standing there with his speech. And by the way, I tell you what, Fraser, I hope you're listening, because these guys are killing themselves having known it's the truth. I'm the only one that says it.
It's not a truth. I know you enjoy it every year. So that's right.
By the way, you can see the minute you go and introduce him onto the stage, everybody goes, oh no.
If you want, what we could do is I could film the full thing for you. I'll send it over. I'll send it over. And you can nip out of Take That and go into the foyer at the Hydro and watch it on your phone.
Take a charger with you. Well, he loves it. That's the one time
he's the main man. It's his show.
I know, but just go up there, do your 5 seconds and get off. No, oh Jesus, man.
Hugh Keevins' irony of Gordon Dalziel accusing someone else of wanting to be the centre of attention.
You can't go over it, can you? But
can't believe it.
Fraser will rise above it because he's the head of PFA Scotland and not the head of.
What would you do?
The head of sunbeds in North Lanarkshire.
What would you do if Ollie Murs missed his flight again and the curtains opened and Fraser strode out onto the Hydro?
Honestly,
black tie, mic in hand.
Oh my God! Well, Take That would just need to pack up and get him, right? Because Fraser's taking over. Listen, you watch tomorrow night, every single one of you, and report
I like
back.
it. I love speeches.
No, you don't.
I do.
Laugh.
I love
right.
speeches.
See, when Fraser goes to that mic, the exit doors for the toilet, I'm not kidding on, is unbelievable, Mark, innit? It's unbelievable. You actually get a ticket to stand there and queue to get in the toilet, going like that. Oh, I'll tell you what. No, you go first,
enjoy
mate.
It. That's
you
harsh.
go first,
I
mate.
like it.
He's really milking this now, though, isn't he?
I shouldn't have brought it up. Fraser's not going to turn up now.
Fraser's going like that. I better get rid of that paragraph here. I better get rid of that book.
Stirling Albion 1-1. Remember, I said that was the shootout to avoid the playoffs at the bottom of League One. So Stirling Albion need to win that one, but they're level. Josh McPake has scored. Stranraer 1 up on Stenhouse Muir. Come on, Hugh, what does that mean at the bottom?
Well, Clyde are still okay.
Yeah, they're 2 points in front of Clyde. They're both 1 up, so Clyde remain 2 points ahead.
There you are. Fraser makes a very good point, and this will be the final say in the matter. A few people are having a go now that the invites are out. They weren't so brave a few weeks ago. Funny that. Now that you've had and declined your invite, you're feeling brave again.
I know I'll never get invited back, so I'm getting out in a bang.
Just a stat I noticed from Celtic Park, Mark. Well, the most important stat, quite clearly, is that Celtic lead 2-0, but maybe just a slight surprise. Hearts have had more of the ball at Celtic Park.
That's a surprise.
35 minutes gone.
Don't often see that with teams coming to Celtic Park and dominating the ball. Maybe a bit what Daz says as well, just a bit more freer, relaxed Hearts. I know they're 2-0 down, but Celtic, you would imagine then happy to let them have it and not really pressing high up, but they were a bit open in the opening periods. Conceded a few chances to Hearts, so maybe just tightening things up and let them play in front of them.
Don't worry, Hugh. Clyde have responded 2-0 up now away at Elgin.
That's it.
Liam Scullion with the goal there. Remind us of your teaser again. We'll try and do some more incorrect answers.
Can you tell me the last 7 Hearts players to score against Celtic who have played for an Old Firm team in their career? The last 7 Hearts players to score against Celtic who have played for an Old Firm side in their career.
Carson would like to throw in Danny Wilson.
Oh,
no.
Nope.
Okay. Lots of you are getting pretty close. Sean wanted to throw in Lee Wallace.
No, we've already established that he's not there.
Him. Lots of people, Gordon, along your lines, like Christopher Stewart, wanted Barry Mackay's name mentioned as well, but it's incorrect, so keep them coming. Trying to give you any more clues to try and help you along the way.
Who's
so 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 are still in the Scottish top flight, if that helps you in any way. You got those 3?
No, we've got one of those.
Right,
okay. So the other 2 is
3.
2 we're missing.
3 are still in the Scottish top flight, I can tell you that. 1 is in the West of Scotland League at the moment. Quite high profile to be playing in that
We've got
division.
him. Well, we've ticked him off. 1
will be on, I think, still on Fraser Wishart's staff, making sure the PFA awards go to plan tomorrow night. That might not help many people, but we'll see. An open game, says Dave Galloway.
Oh, we'll go to another one.
Goalless there, Aberdeen against St Johnstone. Both teams having a go.
Is Halliday on that?
No.
Just as well, since you shout out.
Well, I seen you shaking your head 0.
He is not one of the 3 who are still playing, I'm afraid. In the top flight, it is not. Oh, we've got a goal in that shootout for European spots in Dundee.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's gone to St Mirren. St Mirren lead at Dens Park, and a man who's had a terrific season, not known necessarily for his goal scoring, Gogic. A low finish. Dundee didn't clear. He finished at the back post. And what a big goal that could turn out to be.
That's a big goal, and he was outstanding last week, Gogic, but had a very good season.
What about his clearance?
Unbelievable.
His block
throughout the full game, he was great, and what a way to follow up by getting a goal, such a crucial goal at that. Just a good time to score as well, just before half time.
It's great because all his family are up in Dundee. I was listening to them earwigging at the gates yesterday, making their plans. I was finding out what was happening.
You can elaborate this for anyone who hasn't heard. Gordon Dalziel happens to meet Alex Gogic at the school gates from time to time.
Yeah, but it was his good lady that was talking.
You were just listening in.
I was listening in,
so
kidding on. I wasn't interested. Yeah,
he's had a great season, hasn't he?
He's been terrific.
Out of contract in the summer, isn't he?
I tell you what, how old is he?
He's not over the hill yet, that's for sure. He is. Let me double check.
I've seen a few Hibs fans saying, whose decision was it to let him go?
He's decent.
30,
he
yes, 30,
really is
yeah.
decent. By the way, I've got one that's playing now.
Yeah,
a couple of chances for Celtic. Well, it's openings. A Greg Taylor shot from the edge of the box held by Clark. Now a low save by Xander Clark to push away Matt O'Reilly's shot. Celtic had quietened down a bit, but they're stepping it up again. And if they could get a third before the break, then it really would be party time in that second half.
It's crucial that to get a third. You know, it just makes the game the second half a whole lot easier. 2-0. You know, still that danger there. We saw what happened last week at Dens. You can see the goal out of nothing, and all of a sudden it becomes a much tougher environment to play. So Celtic can get the third, then it's going to be a good half-time chat from Brendan Rodgers.
Even if they don't mark, I think before the game you're saying getting 2-0 up against Hearts, important game. Hearts third best team in the country. I think you'd be over the moon.
But the old 45-minute curse with Celtic this season.
Yeah,
one half
I
good,
about that.
second half not so good, or vice versa. So it sounds like they've been pretty good first half, got their 2 goals, but then they fall up by a decent second.
And Maeda, you have to think, will come on and play some part in the second half. You know, he's got to get some game time before Rangers next Saturday. But that will all depend on the progress of the game.
The Palmerston Pep pressure's off there.
They won it 2-0.
Not been a vintage season, but safe certainly. Montrose 0, Queen of the South 2. So he should be in a good mood.
We've got them, Gordon.
You've finished the answers to the teaser, have you? Good.
Dazzler was good. I think I only got one, you got the rest.
For all the people listening out there, we've got them.
You can get back to actually concentrating on what's going on the pitch this afternoon. Then that would be nice of you to rejoin us, having spent the last 35 minutes scribbling away. Nothing else doing in front of goal at the moment. Hamilton Accies 2, Kelty Hearts 1. Craig Johnson with the goal there. That was off the back of those Queen of the South and St Mirren goals that we told you about. Still nothing between Aberdeen and St Johnstone. Only Dave Galloway is waiting on a goal.
I'm surprised by that. I mean, I know they've had their upset, Aberdeen, with Peter leaving, going to hospital, and we're delighted to report that he's back home now, and we wish him well. But I'm surprised that you'd want Aberdeen to finish in a bit of style.
I know what you're saying, Hugh, but I'm not, because see St Johnstone, when you write them off, they went to Hibs, Easter Road. They can pick up the weirdest results in the world, and I just fancied them to get something there today. Just the way Craig Levein will go up and set up and make it very difficult, and I just fancy St Johnstone maybe snatch something today up there.
I was there last time. They won 2-0, didn't they? A midweek game.
That's right.
Neil Warnock's time in charge, and they were good for it that night, you have to say. So maybe, just maybe, but they looked miles off it against Hibs last week.
Terrible.
Well, it could have been 8. Hibs just playing with that freedom, and no, not really anything to fear. And St Johnstone were awful. You know, at both ends. You think Craig Levine's sides are usually resolute and hard to play against. No, last week, and that's the kind of form that we'll see you in the drop zone.
Let's do this, Hugh, before the half-time whistles go.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Kyogo with a snapshot on the turn saved by Xander Clark. On you go, Hugh.
The last 7 Hearts players to have scored against Celtic and played for an Old Firm side in their career are Gary Mackay-Steven, John Souttar, Kyle Lafferty, Jason Holt, Craig Beattie, Ian Black and David Templeton.
There we are. Well done if you got them all right. That was tricky, so much so we've only got 2 people on the podium. So I think that means Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel, you're sharing third spot on the podium.
Okay.
It'll need to be a sturdily built podium for you two to
We're
stand
bronze.
there. Wee Scooch was in second place, and Derek FM, the winner of the first half teaser. Well done to you. We've got a Who Am I later on in the show as always. 2 minutes added at Pittodrie, 4 added at in Dingwall, 3 added at Fir Park, so we're in that territory. We certainly have had some VAR intervention in some of those, so it tends to add on a bit. The schedule on a Saturday afternoon has changed significantly when you look at all the added time that we play, because by comparison, League 1, League 2, pretty much half time across the board already. But we are waiting. Simon Murray hits the post. Hibs started so brightly, Ross County not in it, and they almost take a lead into the break, but the woodwork.
Simon Murray's been a very good signing for Ross County, got to say. No, I like about him his work rate. I think he works his socks off for a team. I really do.
Free kick. Sorry, Junior Hoylett hits the bar, Hugh, from a free kick.
The Hibs fans might have gone to the game on a motorbike, but although they be slow, small in number, they'll still let Nick Montgomery know if it's not a proper result at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 11 goals in the league alone this season, Simon Murray, and he's usually the king of the League Cup group stages, isn't he? So he's got 18 in all competitions.
He's been a good signing.
Going to need to check this. Right, this is the worst stat. It's not one of the most exciting ones. I think he's got more League Cup group stage goals than anyone else since it was reintroduced, or since it was brought in.
Yeah,
I think so.
Looks after himself in the summer, then comes back sharp, ready to go.
Yeah, takes advantage of lower league opposition, as you sometimes need to do. Half time, Celtic Park, Andrew McLean.
Celtic 2, Hearts 0, the half-time score. Good game here as well, end to end, plenty of chances. Kyogo clinical though, and it's his brace that has Celtic ahead at the break. There was an early scare for the host though. Good work down the right from Hearts. Lembikisa finding Shankland in the box. His shot was blocked and rolled just wide for a corner. Celtic responded instantly though. 4 minutes into the game, a corner was punched away by Xander Clark, only as far as Rio Hatate. He looped the ball back into the box, and there was Kyogo in the right area to head in and give Brendan Rodgers' side the lead. The game just continued in that open fashion, both teams creating openings. Joe Hart had to make an excellent save high to his left to deny Cammy Devlin. His shot was going towards the top corner. Then Cameron Carter-Vickers headed over from a corner before Celtic ended up getting their second. Matt O'Reilly with a lovely curling ball over the Hearts defence. Kyogo this time timed his run perfectly, and it was a cushion volley. Caught it really well with his side foot and put it into the bottom corner for 2-0. The chances kept on coming. Stephen Kingsley heading just wide at the back post from a corner for Hearts. Then Xander Clark, 3 times he was called into action late in the half. The first 2 shots from the edge of the box, one from Greg Taylor, one from Matt O'Reilly. Clark dealt with them both well, and then Kyogo probably thought he had his hat-trick right at the death. A shot on the turn, caught it really well, but Xander Clark turning that one round the post. Celtic with the advantage, but you'd reckon with the way this game is going that there will be more goals in it. The half-time score, Celtic 2, Hearts 0.
Half-time whistle starting to go then. That's a significant one. We actually missed a goal, but Fraser Wishart can tell us about it when we go to Fir Park for the half-time. In fact, let's do that now, Fraser.
Yeah, you can come to me just as Sam Nicholson has hit the ball from 25 yards, an absolute rocket in off the bar into the back of the net to give Motherwell that 2-goal cushion at half-time. They are 2-0 up. The game started brightly end to end and chances at both ends, but after Motherwell opened the scoring through Theo Bayer, the tempo of the game dropped until that brilliant strike by Nicholson. Early chance for the home side. Blair Spittle slipped a lovely ball to Sam Nicholson, who hit the side net. Then the game swung to the other end. Bruce Anderson clean through 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper denied. Brilliant challenge in the box by Casey, and then Stephen Kelly, it was actually a Motherwell corner, and the ball broke to him about 30 yards from his own goal, and he just ran unchallenged from it in his own half into the Motherwell half. He thought about chipping. Kelly side against it, took his time, but then shot inches wide. In the 21st minute, Motherwell took the lead through a T.O. Bear penalty. Gent cross hit Devlin, who was only a yard away, and VAR, Ewan Anderson, took an eternity to check it. It was actually in the 16th minute, and they didn't score until the 21st. But David Monroe went to the screen, gave the penalty. It looked harsh to me, but T.O. Bear didn't care. He stepped up to score low to Georgie's right. Delay seemed to take the pace out of the game, though. Livy's clearly feeling a sense of frustration at the penalty decision, and that was even more frustration from the Livy bench when Pittman scored an 8-yard header, a really good header from Mackay Cross, but assistant referee flagged late for a foul in the build-up by Bruce Anderson on Paul McGinn. It looked like the right decision to me, but the bench not happy. But Motherwell hadn't threatened the Livy goal since then, and then they needed a spark from somewhere just to try and get back into the game after those two injustices. Bear had the half chance on 31 minutes, but he couldn't get enough power, and a back post header from a Gent cross before 2 minutes into stoppage time. A brilliant goal by Sam Nicholson, who's looked bright in this game. The ball's played to him 30 yards out, but he's back to goal. A lovely turn, and he just didn't hesitate. He smashed the ball from 25 yards in off the crossbar into the back of the net, much to the delight of the Motherwell supporters. Livy on the verge of official relegation to the Championship. They need to show a bit more belief in the last third if they get anything out of this game. Motherwell deservedly ahead here at Fir Park. Half time, Motherwell 2, Livingston 0.
Half time, Pittodrie, Dave Galloway.
Half-time, Aberdeen 0, St Johnstone 0. Saints made a good start to this one. Andy Considine tried to catch Keller Roos out with a near-post flick, and Nicky Clark's shot was deflected for a corner. But the Dons stepped things up, and Stefan Gartenmann missed a huge chance to score, but from inside the 6-yard box he sent a free header over from a corner kick. Gartenmann, however, prevented a St Johnstone goal, heading Benji Kimpioka's effort off the line after the forward did superbly to fashion an opening from the resultant corner. Ryan McGowan's header landed on top of the net. The normally deadly Bojan Mijovski shot straight at Dimitar Mitov, who also comfortably saved the striker's diving header at the back post. But on 45 minutes, Aberdeen came so close to breaking the deadlock. A terrific curling free kick from Junior Hoylett from the edge of the D, crashing off the bar. It's been a pretty entertaining first half, but it's goalless. Aberdeen 0, St Johnstone 0.
It's also half time at Dens Park. David Friel.
Yeah, half time, Gordon, Dundee 0, St Mirren 1. Alec Gogic, his unlikely goal hero, he produced a finish. His good friend, his good personal friend Gordon Dale would have been proud of to put St Mirren in control after a really frantic first half. We spoke earlier about how much was at stake as both sides chase European football, and you can really tell Tony Dockett and Stephen Olmsson will both be asking for more composure in the second half. But St Mirren ahead. Gogic's goal in 39 minutes has got them in front. Shooting down the slope at Dens Park, they have had most of the pressure but hadn't really tested Dundee keeper John McCracken until that moment. The best chances have been from set pieces, and Gogic made the most of a Ryan Strain cross after a corner to fire out the back post after Dundee failed to clear. Dundee up the other end, they've been pretty quiet. Luke McCowan picked out Jordan McGee at the back post. His header was weak. Lyle Cameron then picked out McCowan inside the box for once the midfielders touched, let him down. The chance was lost. McCowan then tried his luck. Probably Dundee's best effort from about 20 yards, but Zach Henning batted that one away. A few minutes later, Gogic paused up the other end, and St Mirren now have something to hang on to. Half time, Dundee 0, St Mirren 1.
And we've also got half time in Dingwall with Roger Hanna.
Yeah, half time, Gordon. Ross County won. Hibernian won a really good game of football up here in Dingwall. Hibs dominating the early exchanges, taking the lead, and then really shooting themselves in the foot. A defensive disaster for Rocky Bashiri, giving County a way back into the game. Just 2 minutes in, a first sight of goal for Hibs. Joe Newell's free kick into the box. It broke to Bashiri. He teed up Martin Boyle, but his right foot shot just past the near post. Mizian Maulida and Dylan Vente both had sights of goal in the opening 10 minutes before Ross Laidlaw then made a good save to clutch across from Martin Boyle. The opening goal was coming, and it arrived finally in 15 minutes for Hibernian. A corner on the right by Boyle. Bashiri got up to meet it. It came off the post. It flew behind Ross Laidlaw along the line, and there was Mizian Maulida to tap home his 9th goal of the season. It went to the VAR review. County desperately claiming there had been a handball in the build-up, but the VAR, John Beaton, told referee Don Robertson that the goal should stand. It looked reasonably straightforward for Hibernian at that stage, but then out the blue in 21 minutes, County found themselves level. Jan Danda delivering across from the right. It was a bread and butter clearance for Bashiri. He should have headed it high and away, but instead he headed it down back into the danger area, and it fell beautifully for Simon Murray. An emphatic right foot finish for his 19th goal in all competitions this season. Immediately after that, Laidlaw made a fine save from Emiliano Marcondes after good build-up in the left involving Melida and Jordan Obita. But at the other end, again, defensive disarray for Hibs. Nathan Mariah Welsh this time making a mistake. In came Murray. Wallacott made the save. The ball flew up in the air. Eamon Brophy heading wide when he really should have hit the target. Then Laidlaw called into action in 36 minutes to deny Melida after a break involving Venta and Boyle. And an added time at the end of the first half. County again really out the blue, almost snatching an unlikely lead. Simon Murray breaking clear on the right hand side, coming in from a very tight angle. His shot actually clipped the near post. It ran along the goal line, not at great pace. It was just waiting on somebody tapping it in, but there was Chris Cadden back the quickest to hack clear and keep Hibs on level terms. At the break, Ross County 1, Hibs 1.
And we'll do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
Taking your calls on Scottish football. 0141 951 1025. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time in the Scottish Premiership. It's Aberdeen 0, St Johnstone 0, Celtic 2, Hearts 0, Dundee 0, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 2, Livingston 0, and Ross County 1, Hibs 1. In League 1, it's Cove Rangers 2, Edinburgh City 1, Hamilton Accies 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Montrose 0, Queen of the South 2, Stirling Albion 1, Annan Athletic 1, and Falkirk 1, Alloa 2. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Forfar Athletic 0, East Fife 0, the Spartans 0, Elgin City 0, Clyde 2, Peterhead 2, Dumbarton 0, and Stranraer 1, Stenhousemuir 0. If the English Premier League is your thing, it finished Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 0. At the break, Brentford 0, Fulham 0, Burnley 0, Newcastle 3, Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1. And the second halves are coming up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Hi, it's Tim Burgess with a special announcement about my listening party on Absolute Radio. So far, we've heard stories behind classic records by New Order, U2, The Kinks, Def Leppard, Catatonia, Tis Fears, Simple Minds, The, and a great band called The Charlatans. I swear I didn't write this. Well, I'm really pleased to say that I'll be back with new episodes and new listening parties. So search Tim's Listening Party wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for season 4 and more stories behind iconic albums.
Bally Casino has arrived. The American gaming experience is now in the UK. But when it's time to take a break, Bally Casino also has a range of tools to help you stay in control. You can set deposit limits, get session reminders, and cool off for regular breaks. With these tools, you can stay in control, manage gameplay, and play responsibly on Bally. 18 plus. Play responsibly. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi, it's Tim Burgess with a special announcement about my listening party on Absolute Radio. So far, we've heard stories behind classic records by New Order, U2, The Kinks, Def Leppard, Catatonia, Tis Fears, Simple Minds, The, and a great band called The Charlatans. I swear I didn't write this. Well, I'm really pleased to say that I'll be back with new episodes and new listening parties. So search Tim's Listening Party wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for season 4 and more stories behind iconic albums.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Luker's Land Rover. Looking to sell your Land Rover? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. The top team are round the grounds. We're already underway at Celtic Park in the second half, and the rest are about to follow. So let's get things up and running once again, shall we?
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Men's private health advice and treatment now available throughout Scotland.
Yeah, Celtic with that 2-goal lead, they're good for it. Hugh Keevins.
Yep.
I wish I could find the words to stay away from the cliche about the next goal being important and a 2-0 lead and all that stuff.
Yep.
We know, we've heard it a million times, but at this stage in the season when things can get a bit tense, Celtic will want to put the foot to the floor at the start of the second half, won't they?
Well, sometimes a cliche can be entirely appropriate, and you use the only cliche possible here. If Celtic go 3 up, then the game's over. If Hearts score a goal, nerves set in. It can only be that way. So it's up to Celtic. If they could get Kyogo a hat-trick, they can then bring on Adamida, Dyson Maeda, or if Hearts score, and I've always thought that Shankland would get one, then you really have to start showing what you're worth at the back. Liam Scales, new 4-year contract, Carter Vickers, Alistair Johnson, Greg Taylor. You know, they've had their great moments, they've had their indifferent moments, and they've had their rank rotten moments, and that they have to avoid any of that second half.
No changes at the break, Mark. Will it be the usual 15 minutes and then Dyson Maeda comes on to get fresh for next week?
Yeah, you wonder how Brendan Rodgers assesses that one. If he's just wanting to play a smaller part today, but you'd think he would get a good go at it. You really would. But I don't think the scoring's finished in this game. You know, when you've got two teams, what Celtic scored this season, 84 goals, Hearts 46 goals, Gordon Shankland 29, Kyogo. There's definitely goals in this second half. It's just which way it goes, obviously.
Yeah, I think we'll be in for an exciting 45 if it's anything like the first half. You just wonder if that old Celtic, the way they play in both halves, one usually very good, the second they dip off it a little bit. I think Brendan Rodgers will be reminding his players, look, Hugh's touching on the back four, clean sheet. They don't need to score. A clean sheet for 45 minutes and they get into next week's game comfortable.
3 or 4 minutes into the second half, and it is all Celtic pressure at the moment, so they are trying to start this second half quickly. Gordon Dalziel's shout for Young Player of the Year, Lyle Cameron. He's had a shot saved, lovely technique on the half volley, and it is still St Mirren who lead there at Dens.
Well, are they shooting towards the shallow end or the deep end?
They're up the hill this time, I think.
Right. No, they're downhill.
Oh, are they?
So did the Smyrna kick downhill?
I do know that we talk about the slope far too often on here, so we're going to move on quite quickly. Dundee are downhill.
Yeah, I told you.
Anyway, Bonnie Rigrose won 4-0. They've started quickly. A few teams down the leagues have. East 5-0, Spartans 1, James Cragen. Peterhead 2, Dumbarton 1 in that game as well. Let's do this, Hugh, before anything else kicks off.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played alongside Steve Clarke and Paul Merson. I have been managed by George Burley and Jim Duffy. I played at 2 major tournaments for my country, and I won honours in both Scotland and England. Who am I? I played alongside Steve Clarke and Paul Merson, was managed by George Burley and Jim Duffy, played at 2 major tournaments for my country, and won honours in both Scotland and England. Who am I?
Doable, very doable, because you lot are geniuses at this stuff by now. So get the thinking caps on, and it is a race. Don't hang about. Whatever you're doing, drop it and try and win the second half teaser. Tweet us at Clyde SSB. Very, very doable today, I would say. Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel, any early shouts?
Not yet, no.
None for me just now.
To digest.
Right, we'll wait and see then. We will wait and see. Nothing doing in the second halves of our Premiership games. A couple of moments ago I said it was all Celtic pressure. There was like a Rio Hatate ball flashed across the face and a few other moments, but still nothing in terms of adding to the scoreline. Scoreboard pressure, Brendan Rodgers called it, Hugh.
Yep.
That's what Celtic can ramp up today if they win this game. Scoreboard pressure.
The psychological impact of a Celtic win would be quite something, because 6-point lead, Rangers playing a Kilmarnock side tomorrow managed by a contender for Manager of the Year in Derek McInnes. And even if Rangers were to win that game, they go to Celtic Park with a 3-point deficit next Saturday. So that's the importance of Celtic holding on to what they have or increasing it.
Yeah, Hugh's right. I mean, if this game stays this way, that's not an easy fixture for Rangers tomorrow. Those Rangers players, huge pressure on their shoulders and a huge expectation from the fans, and rightly so. You know, you look at the post-split fixtures and you automatically, your eye goes to your home fixtures. Who are the home fixtures and can you get the job done there? But Kilmarnock, playing the way they have done this season, will pose a threat tomorrow.
I suppose it's Kelly trying to complete the set. They've got something off Celtic and Rangers at Rugby Park. They've got something off Celtic at Celtic Park.
Yep.
Ibrox is the one that's evaded them so far. Montrose have pulled one back.
If
Marvin Bartley's team talk obviously didn't do the trick.
If it was Rugby Park, I would probably side with the lads and say yeah. But you say there that, look, tricky fixture tomorrow. Not as any more trickier when Celtic are facing this afternoon and handling it well. They're playing the third best team in the country.
But you go into it knowing you're 6 points behind.
Yeah, but listen, I think it's one of these times, Hugh, you'll always. If I'm sitting in the Rangers manager's shoes, I'm expecting Celtic to beat Hearts at Parkhead today. So I said when the fixtures come out, I think it's too important now, and I totally take on board these are difficult games because you're playing the best 5-6 teams round about you. But at the end of the day, they're at home, they know the importance of it, and I said that they would not drop points, and I stand by that. I think Rangers will win at home tomorrow. Will it be difficult? Of course it will be, but if they play at their potential like Celtic today, they'll go and pick up.
Well, don't forget, you can have your say a bit later on. Around 5 o'clock we'll open the lines. Of course we will reflect on today's football, however it ends, but we'll be looking for you Rangers fans to get in touch ahead of that game tomorrow as well. So get the number ready and fire it up around 5 o'clock. It's a big day in the lower leagues, as we said. The Leagues 1 and 2 seasons come to a close. The Championship finished last night, Hugh. We said we knew most of the stories were written. There was just time for Partick Thistle to go to Tannadice and see Dundee United put a bit of gloss on it. The real story was who would go into the relegation playoffs. Arbroath were already down. Queen's Park avoided it, and Inverness will have to fight for survival.
And survival is the appropriate word, because they're a club with financial problems. To drop down to the third tier of Scottish football is not what's required at this time. And Duncan Ferguson has already said that he will be there no matter the division they are in next season. Well, that remains to be seen, because I don't know what Duncan earns at Caley Thistle, but it must have been good enough to get him to leave his home in England and come and live here again. So can they afford to keep him as manager if they do not remain in the Championship? But those are questions for a later date. I was impressed by the humility of the Dundee United manager Jim Goodwin, because in the midst of the triumph last night, he thanked the Dundee United board for sticking with him in those moments when things weren't that great and people were talking about Jim Goodwin. And I think that's a terrific humble touch in the midst of triumph.
Just quickly on Inverness, since they are the ones that go into that relegation playoff under Duncan Ferguson, did you see, or have you noticed their goal stats? So Inverness have finished 9th out of 10 teams. They're in the relegation playoff spot. They've got a positive goal difference. Now most other teams Arbroath as an example, one place below them, are on minus 54. Inverness have got a positive goal difference, and in the entire division they finished 9th, remember. Only Dundee United conceded fewer goals. How does that happen, Mark
That's
Wilson?
crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. A lot of 1-0 defeats in there, probably. Yeah. And Duncan Ferguson will be looking at those stats and scratching his head as well. But it's been quite a spectacular decline. You think of him in the cup final, and Billy Dodge standing there on the touchline, and then they come back for pre-season, and you're hearing murmurings of discontent behind the scenes, and all of a sudden he's removed, and you get Duncan Ferguson, who has a wee impact at the start. But for them to drop down, you think of where they've been over the years, and it played such a big part in the Premiership, but they are falling like a stone at the minute, and they need to get things right quickly.
Yeah, but I don't think they've probably scored enough. But there's an argument to say, if you look at, for instance, Morton only scored 3 goals more than them. Wraith Rovers only scored 2 goals more than them, and they're sitting second. I think honestly the way Inverness finished last night, I know it's got to be difficult because it is really pressure stuff. You're trying to stay in that Championship. I think Inverness will have enough to keep themselves a Championship club.
Bit of an open start again to the second half. Joe Hart had to be quick off his line a few moments ago, I didn't tell you about that, to thwart some Hearts danger. Then Hatate's just played a lovely through ball to Kyogo, but a good recovery run by Kai Rolls, who slides in and blocks the shot. on the Championship last night, Mark Wilson, you must have been really torn. I mean, your club where it all started, Dundee United, lifting the trophy against your current employer. Some of your under 18s got on the pitch, of course.
What a night, yeah. Kieran Loney, Shea Campbell. Kieran's only 16, of course. So
did I read that he sat his maths exam
yesterday in the morning
and then went and played at Tannadice at night? That's
imagine that. When did I make my debut? 17, I think, 18. So that seems old compared to what Kieran is, but a fantastic future hopefully ahead for both players.
As an important member of the staff, did you go?
I watched it from afar.
You watched it, so you didn't go to support?
No, there'd be too much of an uproar on the pitch if I went. I let Dundee United enjoy their moment.
Where would this, for instance, where would they have given you would you have been in the director's box, or would you have been
I'm a man of the people. I would have went right in with the fans.
This is the man who lives across the road from Fir Park.
It doesn't go.
Yeah.
Interesting. You said about that big game feel. It's that part of the season. Everybody's aware. So Callum McGregor's just tracked back about 40 yards to make a challenge. Celtic Park erupts. Brendan Rodgers then turns round, throws his arms in the air. He's egging the Celtic fans on. He's really going for it. Sounds like they sense that it's getting to that time when all that stuff can play a part.
Absolutely. And Brendan Rodgers, as I say, he has tried soundbite stimulation by talking about trophy heads and coming alive and all the rest of it. Now he's milking the crowd. We had the photograph yesterday, he's Manager of the Month award with 42 people in the photograph. He is big on unity and the Celtic family, etc., etc. He wants to get them across the line, and if that's what it's like this Saturday, you can only imagine what it'll be like next Saturday at Celtic Park.
He definitely should have let Stevie the kit man hold the award at the front after being put in his place a couple of weeks ago at Hampden.
That would have been very funny.
Stevie's integral. He's integral to the cause, Stevie.
Aye. That's what's missing from the next picture. If he wins Manager of the Month again, maybe we will see it. Interestingly, just a few minutes before that, 4 Celtic subs went out to warm up, but no Dies in Maida at this point. Maybe just keeping him back a bit further. Xander Clark, by the way, in the aftermath of that Brendan Rodgers cheerleading act, there was a double save from Xander Clark as well. So Celtic going for it in this second half, 2-0 up, 2 Kyogo goals, and looking good for it. But Hearts, to be fair, they've had their moments.
I asked my former pros, if Dyson Maida doesn't get on at all, was it all a smokescreen, or does he get game time against Rangers?
No, I don't.
I think he'll play against Rangers.
I think you guys are 100% certainty that he'll play against Rangers, because what he brings about is closing down. Tavernier's a threat for Rangers on the right hand side. But I don't, if he doesn't go on today, I don't know if Brendan Rodgers will stick with the same as starting.
The difference is, remember, he's not actually been out that long.
I know that.
We talk about players coming back and needing game time, but he's not actually been out that long.
I totally take that on board. But would you not put him on for a wee bit?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
This could be massive in that race for Europe, because St Mirren have doubled their lead away to Dundee, and it's Scott Tanzer with the low finish. It was a bouncing ball into the box, poor defending. I'm sure Tony Docherty won't be impressed, and a brilliant finish, and it is major advantage St Mirren.
I think Stephen Robinson will feel a little hard done by that he wasn't in the Manager of the Year contenders, because when you look at his season, he certainly should be up there. A terrific season to follow last season, and that'll put them in pole position for Europe.
Is Falkirk still losing, yeah?
Yep.
2-1.
Oh, what a Sunday night. That's got to beat if Kilmarnock get beat tomorrow night. Tony Dock,
3 losers.
John McLean.
What's sitting there? Faces tripping them.
I think you should have won it. On you go.
Still have been a good season, I'm sure.
Brilliant. Well done to them as well.
Remind us of your teaser, please, Hugh. Let's try and do some wrong answers. Try and help people along. We're good like that. We're nice.
I have played alongside Steve Clarke and Paul Merson. I've been managed by George Burley and Jim Duffy. I played at 2 major tournaments for my country, and I won honours in Scotland and England. Who am I?
Oh, good. I like the way this is going. So I'm looking at the list and I can't see any correct answers yet, I don't think. Stevie wants to throw in Ruud Gullit.
Throw him back out.
Rodgers is here for 10 in a row. Don't know who he supports. Has gone for John Hartson.
No.
I A few people going for John Hartson, interestingly. And Graham McDonald says Scott Arfield.
No.
Right, keep them coming. Keep them
You
coming.
said managed by Jim Duffy?
Yes.
Not played with. Nice, right.
I've managed a few teams.
St Mirren are shuffling the pack now that they're 2 up. Keanu Bacchus, he's out of contract in the summer. Interestingly, he's come on for Connor McMenamin. McPherson on for Wright for St Johnstone in the other game at Pittodrie. Double change for Livingston. Remember, they trail Motherwell by 2-0. Nubley and Bradley on for Obalai and Mackay. Greg Taylor, we've all been there, down after the ball hit him in a sensitive area, I think we'll call it. Brings tears to a glass eye, and he'll just count them, shake it off, and get on with it anyway. Atkinson and Fraser both on for Hearts for Lembikisa and Grant, so kind of like for like changes there. You'd think we had hit the 60-minute mark, Hugh. Substitutions all over the place. Not for Celtic yet, though.
Well, very intriguing that Dalziel Maeda is not out there. You would think even for the boost that would give the crowd as well. I'm not saying you should bring him on just for the sake of bringing him on, but I think the Celtic fans want to know that he can be part of the Rangers game next weekend.
I know because it's 5 subs now, Mark, and it's such an integral part of the game, we've become a bit obsessed. I wonder if we overdo it, because Celtic Park's kind of rocking and Celtic are on the front foot and Brendan Rodgers is liking what he's seeing.
Yeah.
Do you need to break that up? You know, to be sometimes like, why not just leave those 11 players for now and just make sure you don't disrupt the flow too much?
Without doubt, I would keep it the exact same. If it's all going favourably in one direction here for Celtic, why would you take your foot off the gas? I know substitutions can come on and just change a game, but if it's all going swimmingly, it could disrupt you sometimes.
Penalty. Aberdeen, this could be a big one at the bottom. St Johnstone, of course, the opponents at Pittodrie today. It was Nicky Devlin who went down in the box. The referee pointed to the spot, and you would imagine the man who was inadvertently thrown into a big debate on Super Scoreboard the other night, Bojan Miovski. The question was, would you sign Adamida for £5 million? And all of a sudden people just kept phoning in and saying, I'd rather have Miovski.
But Miovski's not available for £5 million.
Not and then said a wee birdie told me that it would take more than £5 million. Will he take the penalty? There is a VAR check, and it's Andy Considine that's given it away.
Oh, I don't know.
Former Aberdeen player, of course. Montrose have completed the comeback. Montrose 2, Queen of the South 2. Marvin Bartley, come on. Come on, Marv. Wednesday night show depends on it.
We're done and dusted, boys. Well done.
Just relax.
Do you know what I've not factored in? I bet he's away on holiday this week.
Who? Marv.
As soon as that lower league season ends, they all go, don't they?
The boys for the championship, if you're not involved, you're in Magaluf as we speak.
Magaluf, that's your
place of Magaluf was a
place of rest.
Callum McGregor is looking very sharp today, despite all that talk about his fitness. It's interesting because Brendan Rodgers was very specific on it yesterday. He spoke about having to do more work on his Achilles and strengthening stuff up, and he'd been looking leggy before, but they were confident that he was looking lighter on his feet, and that's exactly what
shows it
has transpired.
Once again, at the right end of the season where you've got these big games coming up, you're wanting your captain at peak fitness, and it looks like that today.
Stevie Clark would welcome it as well, I'm absolutely sure.
Yep, Dazzler got the... Is that right?
Oh yeah, he's got the teaser now, Gordon DL.
Yep.
Well done to you.
I think I set you up
there.
I did.
You did. You went by the full back, crossed it over, and I tapped it in.
Bit of a delay to that decision at Pittodrie. Certainly expected news of it by now, but we will keep an eye and see what the outcome is. As it stands, it's a penalty to Aberdeen. You would imagine Miovski takes it, looking to add to his tally.
You know, your guess and my guess
was two good guesses.
They stayed together.
Did they?
In a hotel, in the top floor of a hotel.
How do you know that?
Because I was around at that time. And
there's a Dundee connection then.
There you go.
What were you doing in the hotel?
Oh, nothing. I just
drying the dishes.
I don't think football teams got to use the hotel after
they too.
Those two, yeah.
Penalty given, so Aberdeen will have the chance from the spot to take the lead. And Miovski is going to be that man. Nothing really going to change then, because Ross County are still level, aren't they?
Yeah. When do they two play each other? St Johnstone, Ross County.
Well, it must be soon. Hold on, up he steps, Miovski.
Goal Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 0. Goalkeeper goes the wrong way, and Bojan Miovski has scored from the spot. It's his 15th league goal of the season, moves him one ahead of Cyril Dessers, two behind James Tavernier.
As things stand, St Johnstone and Ross County would both be on 31 points, so the drama would go on, and I believe they meet each other on the 15th of May, midweek match.
Thank you, Hugh. That's going to be, and where is it?
I think Dingwall.
Oh, you just guessed
that's a guess.
That's a 50-50, isn't it? I get a choice of two, and I thought it'd sound more efficient if I just said Dingwall.
Only Hugh Keevins could go the 50-50 and get it wrong. But anyway, Motherwell have made a couple of changes. They're comfortable. There's nothing really happening. 2-0 up. Halliday and Nicholson off. Zradovsky and Payton come on. Harry Payton returning. He's not played since the 17th of February, so he's been out for about 3 months. And back into the team today, so that'll be a boost for Stuart Kettlewell heading into the end of the season, and then of course towards pre-season. Wonder if Sam Nicholson, Motherwell would look to do that permanently, especially when Blair Spittle is definitely going to leave. Is that a ready-made?
Could be
sort of replacement. Oh, Motherwell, I said they were looking comfortable.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Extra comfortable. The highlights reel will look good tonight. I hope Mrs. Theo Bair's ready, because he's got his second of the afternoon, and it's
that didn't sound right.
2-0 to the Steelmen. A lovely cross from Georgie Gent, a header at the back post, and there is Theo Bair with another. It's a double for him. That's him up to 15 league goals for the season as well.
Absolutely brilliant.
What a signing. And by the way, good recruitment for Stuart Kettlewell, or whoever was involved in signing, because when you're looking at stats and things, you're thinking a goal scorer we need, and this guy doesn't score goals, but he obviously seen the all-round attributes that he could bring to the side, and then it's up to the player to perform. He's been
confident. I actually think he's publicly said that the analysis staff will give Ross a shout out at Motherwell. Apparently they work extremely close, constantly. And Theo Bair said publicly that, I'm not to say Stuart Kettlewell's not done anything, but it's actually the analysis that's really helped him find out areas to get into and what to do in those certain positions and so on.
Think how good you would have been if you had that sort of cutting edge technology behind your game.
I dread to think how good I'd be.
Hugh Keevins, it is Maeda time. He's been called back. Ida and Iwata also ready to come on, but Daisen Maeda will be introduced, and that he'll get a huge reception.
He will, because again you go back to all things being about the game against Rangers now. I am assuming that Celtic will not blow it with 20 minutes to go and a 2-goal lead, so the fans like Maeda against Rangers. They think the fixture is special to him, as it is for Kyogo, so they're delighted to see him there. And Adam Ida, at the end of the week in which there was the £5 million debate, Adam Ida has a window of opportunity. This game against Hearts, Rangers, Kilmarnock away, St Mirren at home, Rangers in the cup final. A window of opportunity to prove that he's worth £5 million, because the general consensus of opinion on Super Scoreboard Monday to Friday was no, it's too much money.
That's a big ask, isn't it?
I think the first two callers said they would.
Yeah, they
and
did on Thursday night.
Descended into but could we get Bojan Miovski for that price?
I think that's a big ask just now, right? Because I'll tell you why, Hugh. You're saying about the opportunity, the window. He's coming on today, right? What, 20-25 minutes? He'll not start next week. Kyogo's a certain starter. Kyogo's fit, certain starting in the cup final. So I see that window getting smaller and smaller. I said on Thursday, and I could be totally wrong, I think Brendan Rodgers is a more experienced manager and good enough manager. He know a feeling of, I know I can take this guy the next level for the $5 million, or I don't think that's good business.
Well, as I say, you may be correct that the window of opportunity is smaller than he might have had, but at the same time, if you are a £5 million player, by Scottish standards, I know that a £5 million player in the Championship is an average player, but by Scottish standards it's a lot of money. and you need to be showing that you have that instinct no matter how little game time you get.
Are you signing them for 5 million?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
no.
okay.
Hatate, Kun and Kyogo all go off. On come Maeda, Ida and Iwata.
I wonder if McGregor will push up one, Iwata will just sit there, or like a caller said, midweek, does McGregor and Iwata just sit and Celtic happy with their lot and be a wee bit more defensive minded?
Also maybe a bit of a huge cheer as Dalziel and Maeda comes on, as you might expect. Also a bit of an insight maybe into how fit they feel Callum McGregor is, because his minutes have been managed every single game since he came back, but for now he stays on, so they're obviously confident that he's in a place to get that 90 under the belt.
Well, the moment that you described to us, Gordon, of McGregor backtracking and receiving not only a standing ovation from the crowd but from the manager, then this is a big afternoon for Callum McGregor, and I think that will be reflected, assuming Celtic win the match. I think that will be reflected when our calls start at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a very different second half. Lawrence Shankland just a moment or two ago was back defending on his own byline, such as the way that this has swung, and Celtic fans will be loving this, and it could be a hugely significant result. But if we are talking result of the weekend territory,
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 0, St Mirren 3 would be right in the conversation. It's a lovely move. There's Olasanya with the finish. It creeps over the line, but I don't think Stephen Robinson will be too bothered. What a result that is.
What performance. You know, you see how difficult Dens Park has been for teams this year, and St Mirren making it look easy. But they were good against Rangers last week. They looked like they had plenty at the top end of the pitch, and it's proven so today, a tough venue. So that game's done and dusted. Well done, Stephen Robinson.
Well, you know, Dundee against Rangers cost them 2 valuable points. Dundee last week gave Celtic a bit of a fright, 2-1. But St Mirren go up there, and that's what you call an emphatic win.
And it would move St Mirren 5 points clear of Dundee, wouldn't it? With a couple of games to go. It's a big advantage that for
Massive.
European football, isn't it?
Yeah, I think St Mirren, obviously, I know Dundee have been terrific, but I think St Mirren, they deserve to finish in 5th. I really do. I think manager's been terrific as well. I didn't see that coming. You know, I've watched Dundee in the last few weeks, been very impressed with them. They're, you know, the experience they've got, the young talent they've got as well. I was expecting a much tougher game. I'm sure Stephen Robinson was as well, but all credit to St Mirren. They've been up there and they've certainly done the business this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a great result, that, isn't it? We've got another one to tell you about. I think we might do. Yes, we do. Let's tell you.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, Livy, it's been good fun. You've given us some terrific moments in the top flight, but it is coming to an end. Motherwell have scored a 4th, and it's Dan Casey from 10 yards. VAR is checking offside, but I won't need to roll back the dramatic statement about Livy, because it would still be 3-0. I hope you're keeping count. Motherwell are going to win this one 4-0 potentially, depending on what VAR has to say.
I think we can do 2 things. We can say bye-bye Livingston, but also pay tribute. 6 years in the top division, but as the Dazzler has always reminded me, remember the words of Sir Isaac Newton: what goes up must come down.
You know that all too well.
It took Livy a little bit longer than it usually takes.
Good save from Joe Hart. So Hearts are not out of this yet. Yutaro Oda, good save from Joe Hart. If Hearts were to score the next one,
he's had a big day, Joe Hart.
That would change everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that certainly would. And that's not what Brendan Rodgers wants. We're just chatting about the substitutions, how, you know, it could have a negative effect sometimes on you. It could disrupt all the good stuff that you're doing at that time. And
goal given, by the way, 4-0 Motherwell, sorry.
Yeah, they just don't want to concede Celtic and make this afternoon a whole lot harder than it should be.
We'll miss Davy Martindale's interviews in the top flight, will we not?
Yeah, for sure. You know, you can have a laugh about them, and you could also be serious and say that many people will be happy to see them go because of the park and all the rest of it. But Davy Martindale, you know, he took them to a cup final, a miracle. He kept them in the league. Another miracle, because they have the original shoestring budget. But today marks the end of an era.
Yeah, I agree. I think everyone will miss him. He's a character. Everybody liked him. He spoke from the heart, spoke a lot of truth, didn't hide.
Well, they're not going down without a fight.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Tete Yenge pulls one back. Motherwell 4, Livy 1. You would imagine it's a bit late for any comeback today, but you never know. We'll leave it open just for a bit of drama.
If for nothing else, you have to praise him for a show of character. 4 down and you still go up the park and score a goal. Probably your farewell goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 1, St Mirren 3. Michael Mellon at the back post from a set piece. St Mirren, bit of an inquest. They're wondering where that went wrong, because it was a deep free kick knocked back across and an easy finish, again similar to Motherwell. It's still a long way back, but nevertheless a goal for Dundee.
Well, young Michael Mellon last week against Celtic had a chance to make it 2-2 at the far post, headed into the side netting. He's got an eye for goal. He'll be around there if Tony Docherty has his way and can get him up on a permanent basis.
A little too late for me, obviously. St Mirren are in total control of that now, unless Dundee could score in the next 2 or 3 minutes, but I don't see that happening at all.
Was that Motherwell up there last week? Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Was it Dundee were ahead, and all of a sudden the game changed in a few minutes? Can be done if you get a goal quickly.
Well, we're all set up for an interesting finish then. In some of the games it could get tense. We will find out. I can see different reports. It might have been Joel Newbley that scored that goal. Either way, it's certainly a goal for Livy. Motherwell do lead by 4 goals to 1.
Nibbley still under contract, is he?
No.
Oh well, he'll certainly.
There'll be a big turnaround. There'll be big.
I mean, Davy Martindale tried his utmost to sell him.
Yeah.
I think he was his agent and the manager.
Stranraer 2, Stenhousemuir 0, but that's not enough to change it, Hugh, is it? You've got your eye on the bottom of League 2.
If Clyde maintain their 2-goal lead all the way to the final whistle, then
they're safe.
Liam Scullion will enter the history books of Clyde, because he'll have kept them as an SPFL club. And as I say, men of my vintage remember Clyde when they were winning trophies, and Shawfield might have been an awful place, but it would be a sad day to watch Clyde go out of the senior ranks.
I'd love to see you play there.
At Shawfield? No, I wouldn't be playing at that level.
No, they were in the top league at the time.
Top tier?
Oh yeah.
Playing at Shawfield.
Craig Brown was the manager.
And then it would be Stranraer, East Kilbride in the playoffs for a spot in the SPFL for next season.
East Kilbride will fancy that.
I'm sure of it, yeah. Look, last couple of seasons, teams that have come up and done very well, so we'll keep an eye on it. Hamilton Accies have scored again, 4-1 now against Kelty Hearts. It's a double for Jake Hasty.
I was thinking of Clyde legends, Pat Nevin,
yeah.
Harry Hood,
yeah, keep going.
Harry Haddock, Tommy Wren,
yeah, he's
Liam Scullion, Harry Haddock, great fullback.
Right. That was a made up name there.
Jimmy Salmon,
great fullback. But Liam Scullion would enter the history books.
Stop, please, if you can. Hearts are starting to come into this a bit more. It's a corner, they're venturing forward. Still very much at that stage of the game that if they were to score, everything would just feel different. We said there was a proper feel-good factor going round Celtic Park at various points this afternoon, but if Hearts were to score, then the fingernails start getting a bit of attention. So we'll see what happens in the closing stages. A reminder of that teaser if you can, Hugh.
Yes, I played alongside Stevie Clarke and Paul Merson. I have been managed by George Burley and Jim Duffy. I played at 2 major tournaments for my country, and I won honours in Scotland and England. Who am I?
Bryzo thinks Julian Speroni.
Oh no.
Mick goes for Fabrizio Ravanelli.
Nope.
Craig Meikle thinks it might be Eyal Berkovic.
No.
And Tommy goes for Robbie Earnshaw.
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming. I don't want to make you feel bad about yourself, but Gordon DL does have it. He got it quite a while ago now. And I gave a big clue away. I told you there's a
very doable
Dundee,
that one.
A Dundee connection.
Julian Speroni, what name, what goalkeeper he was.
Yeah.
Went into Crystal
Palace,
Palace, was
yeah.
it? He was brilliant for them.
You're right, Hugh. Clyde are 3 up at Elgin City now.
Martin Rennie.
Marvin Bartley was 2-0 up at half time.
Oh, no good beat, is he?
Montrose are winning 3-2.
I can't believe you're laughing.
Chaos on Clyde One Super Scoreboard rota this week.
I love the big guy. Oh,
What chance you got though? Halliday last week. No Halliday because he was at the dentist. I mean, honest.
The dentist?
The dentist.
At 6 o'clock at night?
Yep. And he was listening in the dentist.
I didn't think dentists
Oh,
were
yeah,
open at that time.
In the chair.
One of those private
fancy
numbers.
Getting the teeth seen to.
In the West End, no doubt.
What chance have you got? Seriously.
Did he say it was like pulling teeth? Listen to the programme.
Many have over the years, to be fair. Tagawa's on for Vargas. Hearts is it's a very mini revival. They're just venturing forward a bit more, so trying to at least score and put a bit of pressure on. It's not worked for Vargas today. Can Tagawa have any more luck?
Well, it ain't over till it's over. So Celtic have to be mindful.
He's wandering off very slowly for a man whose team are losing 2-0. You think someone would
yeah, give him a bit of a rocket, get off.
Hugh, I don't like to go too early, but let me say something. Hearts ain't getting back into this game.
Oh well.
Right.
You know the kind of day I had last Sunday.
Yeah.
So
not the best.
I'm waiting for you to
join
suffer a similar fate.
Yeah.
Calamity
That's
Club.
not going to happen, my friend.
Oh, yeah, did you hear some of Hugh's predictions?
What was it, 20 seconds, I think?
Oh, wow.
Six seconds.
I wasn't
was
here,
your
of course.
one of your funniest.
I did hear.
I did enjoy it.
Word reached me, shall we say.
You were unfortunate, Hugh. Unfortunate timing.
206 brave Livy fans have come across the M8 off at Newhouse down
your
past,
your hill if
down
you
that
could.
way, yeah, it depends what way you fancy.
Yeah, aye.
Into Motherwell today to see what will, almost certainly be the final game in the top flight. Losing 4-1. That Joel Newbley goal just.
I wonder what they'll do with their team bus. They've got a fantastic team bus.
I was going to say, is that the biggest proportion away fans from a home attendance, do you think? So what do Livy get? 1,000 or something?
Oh right, so you mean take a fifth of their home fan? Yeah,
aye,
I'm not sure.
Travelling away, because they don't get much at home. But if they're taking that much away.
Moses Ibie has come on. Blair Spittle off injured. Stephen Naismith will be hoping it's nothing too serious. I don't necessarily think it is. There's nothing to suggest that is the case at the moment. Of course, he's off ski. Pre-contract agreement, just a knock. Doesn't look like anything too serious.
What were you saying, Livy were going to sell their bus?
No, I wonder, have you seen their team bus? That's fantastic. I would say the two best team buses in Scotland, there should be a poll here. Aberdeen, magnificent, right?
I mean, how do
and
you
Livy
know?
Because I pass all the team buses, mate.
But do you not need to go inside them to judge?
Yeah, but what I do is
crowds in team buses have been his thing this season.
I slow down and
I would
that's
imagine
when Neil
Celtics
Warnock
and
was
Rangers
waving to
are
me.
struggling though.
No, they'll be nice, lovely buses.
They've got two buses each, don't they?
Yeah, but these are big double deckers.
No, they're not.
He's like a 10-year-old boy.
A double decker bus. As in, like half the players sit in the top. No, they don't.
Yes, they do. 100%. Get Dave Galloway.
I think Aberdeen's got that. Has Livy got that?
Seriously?
Yeah, and they've got the big line on the but ask Dave Galloway. He'll
How
tell you.
easily amused are you? Livy's bus has got a big line in the side.
He's a 10-year-old here.
He's trying to Google. He's trying to prove me wrong here. Aberdeen bus is a double decker, double decker with Shinnie, and I'm trying to think of the other player that's on the side. Aberdeen, they're bad.
Miovski.
No, it's not Miovski.
Willie Miller.
No, it's not Bendy for the pass.
You could be right. Is that a double decker? Possibly.
And you sit down.
Aye,
probably.
I think so. What seat are you choosing? The double decker?
I just had the image of like a first bus.
No, have a look at Aberdeen's.
Irvin Welsh
really
is now
don't
going to
care.
have to rewrite not Train Spotting, Bus Spotting, starring Gordon Dale.
I love it. No, what I do, I slow down and look in to see who's in the bus.
Choose life, choose buses.
Oh, there must be a real mystery.
Who's in the bus?
Oh, look, there's David Martindale.
No,
there's Joel Newbley.
I'm talking about Aberdeen. Who sits down the front? Who goes up the back? Up the top.
Honestly, you
the windows are tinted.
I know, but if you go close,
right, enough. Two more. That's just far too many. Fans at Celtic Park claiming for a handball from Hearts in the box. Play continues. Maeda heads over, and then Kevin Clancy goes to the screen. So we may well get a penalty to Celtic. It'll be interesting to see, does Matt O'Reilly stay on them? He's still on the pitch, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because Luis Palma came on, he replaced James Forrest. I didn't get the chance to tell you about that. O'Reilly has the ball in his hands. He's waiting on the final verdict.
He'll not dink it, surely.
Hasn't even been given yet. We know that across the world, when they go to the monitor, it tends to be given, but Scottish refs have stuck by their decisions quite a few times this season. This is not one of them. A quick look from Kevin Clancy. It is a penalty to Celtic, and Matt O'Reilly has the chance to put this game beyond doubt from the spot. Scored a spectacular one at Ibrox, didn't he, in that recent game?
Score one in the shootout as well today
Yep.
against Aberdeen. No chances should be taken with us. Laces through it, put it away.
I don't think he's a laces through it type of guy.
Cultured.
Side
Why would he
foot.
suddenly-
Side
foot, corner.
I think he's got it all, a bit of everything.
In the corner, Randa Clark, no chance. 3-0.
Stroke it.
Yeah, press the button.
Whatever direction he
Let's go.
fancies. Waiting to see which direction he does go in. Xander Clark saved, of course, Adamida's penalty
Yes,
at
yes. Poor one,
Tynecastle
yeah.
in that game, which I'm sure you remember all too well. Luke McCowan's had a low shot saved from for Dundee. Here he comes, Matt O'Reilly. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that is right for you. Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell and Darnley, and Jaguar, Volvo and Land Rover showrooms found in Hillington. Right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today, or even pop into the showroom local to you. Now back to the podcast.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Top corner this time, showing his array of penalty kicks. Where has he been in terms of penalties for Celtic? They stumbled upon Matt O'Reilly eventually, and he's been making no mistake. He fires it into the top corner. Xander Clark, no chance, and it's Celtic 3, Hearts 0. Scoreboard pressure.
And
Brendan Rodgers
here's
called
the
it.
other part of scoreboard pressure for Rangers. They are now 6 points behind and 8 goals worse off. The goal difference has been enhanced by Celtic's performance today, so the pressure on them tomorrow against Kilmarnock has been cranked up.
He's had a very good day, Matt O'Reilly. He'll talk about his pass for a Kyogo's second goal, and then he steps up there and puts a penalty kick away and really puts the game to doubt.
Will they get Player of the Year tomorrow? What a weekend that would be. Round it off for him.
Fraser.
Did you hear Fraser? Did he cough at any point when we mentioned the names?
Don't know. No, Fraser keeps everything very.
Fraser wouldn't give you the answer at gunpoint. Never mind cough. He wouldn't give you the answer at gunpoint.
Callum McGregor now off for Bernardo. Very late in the day though in that one. I can't believe it. You say what you like about you, but you do speak for the people. Penn is on and says DL has a point. Livy bus passed us on the Bells Hill bypass and it's a belter.
I told you, spot the bus.
Oh, what does that tell you though? They didn't cut off at Newhouse. They went to the next one and down.
Yeah.
Just shows you.
Poor from the driver. And they're wondering why they're 4-1 down.
Anyway, right. Oh, there we are. Falkirk 2, Alloa 2. 85 minutes. The Invincible is back on. They just need to cling on for another 5 minutes, and they've done it. They were 2-0 down. This could be a big goal.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Ross County 2, Hibs 1.
I called it.
It was a break. It was Jordan White, the substitute, in the box, spins, fires it past Jojo Wallacott, who's in for the injured David Marshall, and it is a goal for Ross County. How big could that be at the bottom?
Huge. That's Ross County now on 33 points. St Johnstone losing at Pittodrie on 31 points and 2 points of a difference. Mighty. Well, there's only one phrase for this, and it's Sir Alex phrase. It's squeaky bum time for St Johnstone.
I thought Ross County a couple of weeks ago would have enough to get out of it because of what they had in Simon Murray and Jordan White and Dan, guys like that at the top end, and it's proven so.
Wow.
It's a big goal.
And I'll tell you what, not a good result for Nick Montgomery's future potentially. If you read what many are into that Hibs statement about results having to improve, can't go losing bottom 6 games or many of them. Have to say, just on that penalty that Celtic were awarded, we've seen everything really, handballs, and I know we get many controversial ones, but the look on Lawrence Shankland's face tells you everything you need to know. It's a corner. He maybe expects the Celtic player in front of him to flick it on, and it kind of flies over the head. It catches Lawrence Shankland unaware, and he just sticks his right hand sort of up next to his face, and the ball hits his hand. He knows fine well that was getting given, and Matt O'Reilly scored. 4 added at Celtic Park, 5 added. We're in that territory now, so let's round this off. Hugh Keevins.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played alongside Steve Clarke and Paul Merson. I have been managed by George Burley and Jim Duffy. I played at 2 major tournaments for my country, and I won honours in both Scotland and England. Who am I? I'm Craig Burley.
Craig Burley, well done if you got it right. Dave Lindsay did. He was third fastest. Botox 1985, second fastest. And Lee Armstrong is the winner of the second half teaser. You knew you're Craig Burley, and you can brag about it to your heart's content all week. Well done to you, Lee Armstrong. We're definitely in added time in all the Premiership games now. Full times going down the division. Stirling Albion 1, Annan 1. That means that Stirling Albion will be in the relegation playoff spot there. Those teams were level on points going into today. They'll stay level on points, and Stirling will finish 9th. So going to be a tense time in the playoff to see if they can retain their League One status. Marvin Bartley, Montrose 3, Queen of the South 2. 2-0 up at half time. The big fella will need to have words. We will need to have words.
Poundland Pep.
He's just wanting the season finished. I've been there. You just want it over and done with.
Yeah, I think his flight's at 5:30. Dumfries. No, in fact, where is he? He's
in
Montrose,
Montrose, yeah.
Aberdeen Airport. Can you fly out from there?
You've got to.
That'd be the closest one.
Got to plan ahead, Gordon.
Do they have an airport in Dundee?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
We flew from their Celtic team after a game
Seriously?
to London for our Christmas night out. Fantastic. Our own private plane. It was brilliant.
I went on a
Those were
Dundee
the
days.
half Livy. You're banging on about Livy's team bus. This guy's getting a private jet to London.
Loving that.
I was an easy jet to Magaluf.
Straight from Canada.
This guy thinks a double-decker team bus is some sort of special invention.
It shows the levels, Gordon.
Mate,
between us.
I'm impressed with that.
It's good, isn't it?
There are a lot of things you do does not impress me, but that is one.
I went on a Dundee United European tie, and we flew from RAF Lookers.
Seriously?
That's impressive.
That does surprise me. Was that the one that David Friel was talking about earlier? Perugia?
No. This was in the Jim McLean era.
Wow.
And we flew on a Sunday morning from RAF Lookers.
So like a chartered plane though.
Yeah.
The team and the press and so on, and the club officials.
RAF Lookers.
There you are. You learn something new every day.
Very good.
You're about to learn that Celtic are going 6 points clear at the top, with Rangers given the chance to respond tomorrow. You're also about to learn that Livy will be relegated. St Mirren will really seize the initiative in the battle for Europe, and Hibs' season just really not going to plan.
The Black
at
Knight
this stage.
group.
Sorry, Hugh, the reason I'm interrupting because we've got a full-time whistle at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway.
Yeah, it's finished Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 0 in a pretty decent and open first half. St Johnstone made a positive start. However, Stefan Gartenmann missed a huge chance to put Aberdeen ahead. From inside the 6-yard box, he sent a free header over from a corner kick. Gartenmann, however, redeemed himself, preventing a St Johnstone goal, heading Benji Kimpioka's effort off the line after the forward had superbly fashioned an opening for himself from the resultant corner. Ryan McGowan's header landed on top of the net. On 45 minutes, the host came so close to breaking the deadlock. Junior Hoylett's terrific curling free kick from the edge of the D, crashing off the bar. The Dons took an early grip in the second half. Jack McKenzie cut back for Jamie McGrath. His shot was beaten away by Dimitar Mitov. Junior Hoylett picked out Angus MacDonald, whose header was blocked on the line by Nicky Clark, and McGrath fed Bojan Mijovski. His effort from a tight angle was saved by Mitov. But the deadlock was finally broken after 68 minutes. Nicky Clark went down in the box. Not Nicky Clark. You know what I mean? Nicky Devlin, of course, went down in the box under Andy Considine's challenge, and Majowski sent the keeper the wrong way with his penalty kick. Majowski nearly made it 2-0 with a glancing header from Leighton Clarkson's free kick going just past the far post. But Adama Sidibe really should have equalised for St Johnstone. However, from Cammy McPherson's cross, his free header went over the bar. A dominant second half performance by Aberdeen. It was a deserved victory overall. And goodness me, isn't it looking interesting down at the bottom of the league? It finished Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 0.
Finished at Celtic Park, Andrew McLean.
Celtic 3, Hearts 0, the full-time score. Brendan Rodgers' side goes 6 points ahead of Rangers after 2 goals from Kyogo and a late Matt O'Reilly penalty. It was a comfortable win in the end for Brendan Rodgers' side. However, the first half wasn't like that at all. It was competitive, it was lively, it was end to end. Shankland had a deflected shot that went just wide in the opening minute that really set the tone, but a Celtic response came just a few minutes later. A corner was punched away by Xander Clark only as far as Rio Hatate. He looped the ball back into the 6-yard box, and there was Kyogo to head into the bottom corner to give the home side the lead. Then back up the other end, Joe Hart had to make an excellent save high to his left to deny Cammy Devlin, who must have thought he'd scored, with a really good effort. Hearts trying their best, but real quality from Celtic to make it 2-0. Matt O'Reilly, lovely curling ball over the Hearts defence. He was about 40 yards out, but clipped it brilliantly into the path of Kyogo. Well-timed run from him, and the finish was just as good, cushioning it into the bottom corner to double Celtic's lead. Before the break, plenty more action as well. Stephen Kingsley heading just wide. Xander Clark called into action from Greg Taylor, Matt O'Reilly and Kyogo. The second half, though, didn't follow the same pattern at all. Celtic started to take real control. They had all of the ball, penned Hearts in, plenty of pressure. Maybe not the host of chances that they would have been looking for, but they looked comfortable, limited Hearts at the other end, and eventually were given the chance to seal it late on. The ball hitting Lawrence Shankland's arm in the box. Kevin Clancy summoned to the VAR screen. He had a quick look and awarded the penalty. Matt O'Reilly, Celtic's assigned penalty taker now. He strolled up and then powered it high into the top corner to seal this game for Celtic. All eyes were on them today, but it's exactly the type of performance that Brendan Rodgers would have wanted. That scoreboard pressure is now on Rangers going into their game against Kilmarnock tomorrow. The full-time score here at Celtic Park is Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Well, Celtic fans, what did you make of that? Give us a call, please. It's finished at Fir Park, and that's a significant result as well. Fraser Wishart.
It is. Motherwell 4, Livingston 1. It's been coming for a while, but I'm sure it doesn't dull the pain for David Martindale and everybody connected with Livingston. They officially lost their Premiership status after 6 seasons in the top flight. But over the 90 minutes, it was very comfortable for Motherwell, who have set themselves up to challenge Hibs and Aberdeen for the 7th place. Theo Bair with 2 again leading the way. It's actually a good start to the game in terms of tempo. Chances at both ends. Nicholson hit the side net at one end. Levy had chances through Anderson and Kelly, but the game changed when the 16th minute George Jenny was outstanding throughout the game again. Got to the byline. His cross hit Michael Devlin, who was a yard away. I'm not sure what the Livy skipper could do, but after an eternity, Ewan Anderson, the VAR ref, sent David Munro to the screen. Ref gave the penalty, and 4.5 minutes later, Theo Bair scored low to the keeper's right. And 2 minutes into stoppage time, a brilliant goal. Sam Nicholson, a really sharp turn, about 30 yards to go. He's back to goal. Really sharp turn and unleashed a 25-yard rocket in off the bar. It was a brilliant strike by the wing, and that was really game over. They made a couple of changes at the break. Tete Yengi came on and made a slight difference for Livy, but it wasn't a great second half and little happening in the game. Motherwell comfortable, Livy ringing the changes but making no impact on the game. But it was 3-0 in 68 minutes. Blair Spittle was fouled deep inside his own half. Good refereeing by David Munro allowed the play to flow, and Lennon Miller with a lovely pass to send George Gent away on the left hand side. Beautiful cross to the back post. Theo Bair diving header powered high into the net. 75 minutes, it was 4-0. Spittle on the right hand side whipped in a free kick. It wasn't his best effort, it bounced, but was met brilliantly by Ben Casey with his head from 10 yards. A really good finish, and the consolation for Livy came 2 minutes later. Joel Newbley out jumping Stephen O'Donnell at the back post. Really good finish by the big winger. Looped a header back across goal and into the back of the net from a Stephen Kelly cross. You just wonder what the future holds for Livy. Punched above their weight for many years. They face a big rebuild over the summer, but Motherwell still get a bit to play for this season and have kept the fans really happy in the home games this season. Full time at Fir Park, Motherwell 4, Livy 1.
Livy, we've enjoyed it. They played their part and then some famous results, some famous performances, some very high profile players who've gone on to do great things, but their time in the top flight is over. Any Livy fans out there who want to give us a call, you can do. How does that feel? We've known it's been coming for a while, but it's confirmed. What about Dingwall though, Roger Hannah?
What about Ross County, Gordon? Ross County 2, Hibernian 1. The Staggies are out of the relegation playoff place tonight. A dramatic late winner by substitute Jordan White sent Dingwall crazy. It hadn't looked likely at all. Hibs on the front foot from the first whistle. They had 3 chances before Misery and Mayolida actually gave them the lead in 15 minutes. It was a corner from the right by Martin Boyle. It was won by Rocky Bashiri. The ball struck the post. It rolled along the line behind home goalkeeper Ross Laidlaw, and there was Mayolida to knock it home for his 9th goal of the season. It had been one-way traffic at that stage, but a real turning point in the game in 21 minutes. There seemed little danger when Jan Dander knocked in a routine ball from the right-hand side. Rocky Bashiri had all the time in the world to deal with the danger. He should have headed it high and away from goal. Instead, he headed it straight down at the feet of Simon Murray, who smashed home his 19th goal of the season for 1-1. 19 almost became 20 in stoppage time at the end of the first half. A shot from an acute angle, it hit the near post, it trickled along the line, but Chris Cadden was there to clear the lines for Hibs. At the start of the second half, the woodwork again denying Murray, this time with a header. It clipped the top of the bar on the way over the top. Hibs were in the game. Misery Malida again was shot off the outside of the post in 68 minutes, and Ross Laidlaw in the County goal had some decent saves, but County seemed to want it most. Manager Don Cowie threw on White for Eamon Brophy near the end. He had a shot blocked by Paul Hanley, and he had a header inches wide of the far post, but he would not be denied, and his moment came in 88 minutes. Fellow substitute George Harmon playing the ball into him, and he's back to goal. He spun and he fired a low shot past Jojo Wallacott, and the Hibs goal to send the home fans in a crowd of nearly 4,000 wild. They're above St Johnstone tonight. 2 of their last 3 are at home, and they've still to go to Perth, but it's all to play for at the bottom. Ross County 2, Hibernian 1.
Big results everywhere you look. Dens Park, David Friel.
Yeah, huge result, Gordon. Dundee 1, St Mirren 3. Dust is settled now, but I've just witnessed unbelievable scenes of celebration at the way end. I think the people of Paisley are going back home to get their passports looked out in preparation for next season. St Mirren haven't officially secured European football yet, but I think it's fair to say this was a major step towards it. This win at Dundee means they're 5 points ahead of their rivals with just 3 games to go, and you have to fancy Stephen Robinson's men to finish the job, secure that Conference League qualifying spot. It was his 100th match as St Mirren boss. He lapped it up at the end. He was loving it, and this will go down as one of the best wins of his reign. St Mirren had the best of the first half. Didn't really work Dundee keeper John McCracken until Alex Gogic's opening goal in 39 minutes. Ryan Strain's deep cross wasn't dealt with by Jordan McGee. Gogic was in the right place to finish off at the back post. Dundee were quiet in the first half. Second half was pretty similar. St Mirren dealt with some early pressure, then killed the game with 2 goals in 13 minutes. Scott Tanser made it 2-0 with a clinical finish on 59. Dundee's defending was so poor after James Bolton won a flick, but Tanser's touch and volley were excellent, giving McCracken no chance. Then in 72 minutes it was 3-0. Keanu Bacchus, he was really good as a sub. He fed Mikael Mandro, and he was really unselfish as he squared to Toyosi Olasanya, and his powerful shot squeezed in at the post. Credit to Dundee, they kept going, they made a game of it. Sub Michael Mellon headed in following a well worked free kick to make it 3-1, but it was too late for Dundee. St Mirren took a major step towards European football. Full time, Dundee 1, St Mirren 3.
And now it is over to you. What did you make of that? Every week that passes, it gets more and more intense, more and more dramatic. So what did you make of your team's performance and result today? Right now, give us a call, 0141 951 1025. Let's start at the top and work our way down. Celtic fans, 6 points clear. Rangers do have a game tomorrow, but 6 points clear. A 3-0 win, a double for Kyogo. How are you feeling after that? Let us know, 0141 951 1025. If we come down the table ever so slightly, St Mirren fans, how big a win was that? Are the passports getting looked out? Are you getting the sun cream ready? Because European football is looking likely. Livingston fans, I'll go straight to the bottom. It's been a great time in the top flight, punched above your weight over and over, but it is over, and it will be relegation confirmed for Livy. 0141 951 1025. St Mirren fans, we mentioned them. Hibs fans, not great, not a great result at all, losing in Dingwall. And then tomorrow, Rangers fans, Brendan Rodgers called it scoreboard pressure, because you have the chance, of course, to go back 3 points behind, but scoreboard pressure. Celtic played first. How do you feel? What about your team tomorrow? How do you see the game going? 0141 951 1025, and we will speak to you next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Mark Wilson, Hugh Keevins and Gordon Dalziel are here. It's 01419511025. At this stage in the season, every result matters, every performance plays a part, and we want to know what you made of it. In the top flight today, a win for Celtic moves them 6 points clear. So Celtic fans, what did you make of that? Let us know right now. Livy relegated. Livy fans, what do you make of that? St Mirren, they can smell the aeroplane food. They're that close to European football. St Mirren fans, how are you feeling? And anyone else out there, do give us your thoughts. Even down in League One, you've got Invincible, Falkirk. There are stories everywhere, so pick up the phone and let us know what's on your mind. Hugh Keevins, a significant day
for Celtic, an amazing day. They played very well. They increased the goal difference to 8 over Rangers, the points difference to 6 over Rangers. They put all of the pressure on Philippe Clement and his players when they face Kilmarnock tomorrow. And we have a situation where even if Rangers win tomorrow, they have to go to Celtic next Saturday with a 3-point deficit. And if Celtic win that game next Saturday, then you would have to work very hard to convince all of the Celtic fans that it did not add up to a league title win.
Yeah, it was a huge day for Celtic. More than 3 points. Really, when you see the performance, the confidence about Celtic Park, and you get Kyogo scoring at the right time, Callum McGregor back up to speed, the return of Dyson Maeda, and then the pressure that puts on Rangers automatically tomorrow. A fantastic day for Brendan Rodgers' side, and at the bottom of the league, a dreadful day for Craig Levine's side, who find themselves in banging trouble in 11th spot.
A big statement from Celtic this afternoon. I fancied them to win, but I didn't think it would be as comfortable as a 3-0. Pluses in that as well, as the guys touched on. Kyogo, Matt Riley getting back to that form we know he's capable of. Clean sheet, because the defence comes in for a lot of criticism just now. For me, they're one home game away from being champions, and it's up to Rangers tomorrow, to keep that that title race going, because if they lose tomorrow, I don't think they've any chance. I think they'll win it, but it's next week I'm looking to.
Darryl is on the line. Darryl, what did you make of that today then?
I thought it was another 3 points closer. I thought Celtic were brilliant. I would like to talk to Shug Keevins. I remember after we had lost against Hearts, he declared that the league was over. I would like to ask Shug, do you still think that the league is over?
Absolutely not. And I claim in mitigation the fact that people make judgments weeks and weeks ago, and events overtake them. And what overtook me was Rangers losing in Dingwall and then dropping 2 points the following midweek against Dundee. And those sequence of results did for Rangers and did well for Celtic.
Don't make him unbearable, Darryl, because what he'll cling on to is he predicted Celtic to win the title right at the start of the season, and he's going to keep bringing it out and just change his mind like the weather. So don't make him unbearable. What did you enjoy about today?
Unbearable. Shug had declared that the league was over, so I wanted to ask him if it was still over, but obviously Celtic were completely dominant. I think obviously, as Mr. Dalziel says, next week will take care of itself. I think Rodgers is looking at a potential double after everyone doubting him.
It's not a great line. We'll try and get Darryl back. It was breaking up quite a few times, but he, next week take care of itself. Brendan Rodgers looking at a double after people doubting him was Darryl's line. How important was obviously the win, Mark, but the manner of it as well today?
Yeah, because I think that's where Celtic have came under some serious scrutiny from not just the media but their own supporters, that even when they've been winning games, it's been a tale of two halves really. But today I think it was a full package. I think everybody played their part. Big saves from Joe Hart at the right time, but then at the opposite end of the pitch, goals from Kyogo, creativity from O'Reilly. It was absolutely massive. It was a real statement, and Brendan Rodgers touched on it a couple of weeks ago. Get your league winning heads on and get the job done, and they're going about it the right way. Following up from last week's win at Dens Park, to go and win 3-0 today is impressive stuff with the pressure on your shoulders.
things are starting to look good. If you're Brendan Rodgers in that camp, you know, you're getting that midfield that everybody talks about. Hatate and McGregor had been missing. O'Reilly had dipped off it a little touch, but today they're starting to blend into that midfield three that we know how good they are. James Forrest has been terrific in the last few games. Clean sheet as well today as well. You've got to add that to the positivity that's going around. It's up to Rangers. They've got to go and beat Kilmarnock tomorrow and put a little bit of pressure.
How confident are you feeling now, Darryl?
Very confident, very confident. I think that we will win the league. I think we'll win the cup. My parting question will be to Mr. Keevins: is the league over for Rangers now?
I have said that I think next Sunday, or Saturday, I beg your pardon, is a potential league decider. If Celtic beat Rangers next Saturday, the league's done and dusted. I would also say to you, Darryl, it's not important that I become the main focus here. It's important that your focus is Brendan Rodgers and the players. Pundits get things wrong all the time. I've been here 39 years on this programme. I've got millions of things wrong. I've got a backstory that you wouldn't believe. So it's not about Shug, the way you started, and now you've amended it to Mr. Keevins. It's about Mr. Rodgers and the players.
See the reason for asking, Darryl, do you think it's over for Rangers?
I think it is, but just when Shug says he gets a million things wrong, I remember I missed a Ludo Moravcik, and I'll refer to that. A lot of Celtic fans will remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have 700 other offences to be taken into consideration, Darryl. But you're making yourself look obsessed by a 74-year-old man instead of focusing on a football manager and his players.
I liked it at the start. I like to give Hugh a hard time as much as the next guy. We probably did obsess over Hugh a bit too much there. It got a wee bit weird at the end. And Darryl says he thinks the league is over. Sitting fans are allowed to, of course. I can't imagine Brendan Rodgers would be allowing those thoughts creeping in.
Like, I can totally understand why Celtic fans would be thinking that. If I was in their shoes, I'd be thinking the same.
Would you?
Yeah,
over though.
Yeah,
but Rangers play tomorrow though.
I know, because the fact that you've got that last game for me, I said it from day one, I'll all come down to that Celtic part, right? And I think that if you look at your records over Rangers, you'd fancy that big time. You've got all your best players back. Is the league over? No, I don't think it is, Gordon. Right? I really don't. I still think we've got a bit of excitement to go, but we all know, we can all safely say right now, Celtic are strong favourites.
It just feels like, Mark, the numbers are just, they're just not there. Yeah, obviously, like, if you asked pretty much anyone who's favourites to win between Celtic and Rangers next weekend, they're going to say Celtic. You say who's favourites to win the league, they're going to say Celtic.
Yeah.
Something that came up last night on the show, we're not talking this mad, crazy, wild possibility that the team in second place beats the team in first place when they meet next week. Yes, Celtic are favourites, but that would hardly be a shock that would rock world football.
Yeah.
Let's be serious here.
Well, what they've done is they've put themselves in a real position of strength at the right time, where you want it. But I don't think anyone inside Celtic Park or the dressing rooms think, let's take our foot off the gas here and we'll just breeze over the line. Brendan Rodgers knows his toughest game of the season is coming up next week, because it's the next one, and it's because it's their closest rivals. So he'll understand that. The Celtic players will understand that. I don't think many fans actually will be going away from Celtic Park thinking this league's over. Not by a long shot.
A bit of breaking news involves one of our old pals as well. We were joking throughout the show, but Marvin Bartley, the old mutual consent, he is no longer the manager of Queen of the South. That concludes the League One season today. They stayed up, but clearly that's not necessarily what the aim was for a club of that size or a full-time team in that division. And Marvin is parted company with Queen of the South. I thought I'd mention it since he's of course on our show quite regularly. Let's bring in Paul, who's on the line. How would you describe today's performance, Paul, and what does it mean for the title race?
I thought it was a very professional, determined performance, Gordon. I thought from the beginning Celtic looked as if they had a purpose about them and a shape that they haven't had all season. And I thought that the way that Callum McGregor marshalled the team, I thought there was leadership throughout the team. mean, I've heard comments saying about two poor teams in the league this season, and Celtic for sure have not been at their best. There's no denying that. But the atmosphere inside the ground, Kyogo back to his best. There's a lot of positive. Obviously, the league's not over yet, but there was real big performances throughout the team.
How pleasing, particularly Kyogo, we were discussing during the game, Paul, if Celtic fans could handpick one player that was really going to come to the boil at this stage of the season, it might well be him.
Well, I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory about Kyogo. I think there must be something with his shoulder or insurance or something. I don't have anything to prove it on, but in any other world, he would be he would be playing in the Premiership or La Liga or whatever, and I don't know what the question mark is, but we're very, very lucky to have him. His appetite today for press, and what I thought was different was the press. The press was there from the beginning, and Kyogo, Hatate, McGregor, O'Reilly, I know I said during the week Matt O'Reilly will break the Scottish transfer record. The guy's an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. Just England must be kicking themselves that he's Danish. I mean, just the guy's just class. But yeah, Kyogo, I think the big plus. But the major plus for me going into next week is Callum McGregor. I think he's, I saw Stephen Naismith at the end actually singling him out for praise and going to see him to congratulate him. I thought it was a nice touch. And again, Hearts gave Celtic a great game and were open. And I think it was just a brilliant advert for Scottish football. I can't understand why the television companies don't have a game like that of this magnitude shown live, but to have it at 3 o'clock on a Saturday with a full crowd, it was almost like a dress rehearsal for next week. It was just very, very pleasing. And I think for Brendan Rodgers, this might, in a perverse way, make him enjoy being back at Celtic. I think at the beginning of the season, there was a lethargy and a hangover from Ange. And I think he is relishing the task and showing that he is, by every stretch, an elite manager.
That trio there, Hugh, Kyogo, he's your main goal scorer. He gets a double today, assisted by Matt O'Reilly, who Paul lavishes praise. Poor England, they'll just need to put up with Cole Palmer and Phil Foden.
They'll have to do the job
on Matt O'Reilly. And then Callum McGregor. Lots of doubts about fitness and form, those three in particular. How important could it be that they might be peaking at the right time?
Celtic have the prospect of the Hollywood finale next Saturday, and Kyogo, who has scored 2 magnificent goals against Rangers this season already, is there for a starring role. O'Reilly, who has blossomed once again following all the talk about Atletico Madrid, is there for a co-star's role. And McGregor, the captain, who receives a standing ovation today for proving that he is without doubt the heartbeat of the team, is there to lead Celtic to a title. I believe if Celtic win next Saturday, they will win the title, and it has all the makings of one of those famous stories that enter the club's folklore. Rangers at home, 60,000 Celtic fans, the stage is set, but Rangers don't turn up to be bit part players. However, if Celtic win next Saturday, I think they win the league.
What jumped out for you today, Mark? Was it about that trio in particular?
Oh, without doubt. But I think when you look throughout the spine of Celtic's team, at this stage of the season, it's always going to be critical. And you look today at Joe Hart with a couple of big saves when it was needed. Cameron Carter-Vickers, another full game and looks close to full fitness. Callum McGregor, again, close to full fitness, directed the traffic, and it'll be huge next week. But it's always the guy at the top end of the pitch that gets the plaudits, and rightly so, because he's the one that sets the ball rolling, gets 2 goals today, and he's much more like himself or the player he was last year, Kyogo.
0141 951 1025. Thank you to Paul. It is a great time to call, and we'll try and get you on next.
0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. That noise you hear is Hugh Keevins' Nokia. He's just turning it off, having made a call during the break. But we're looking back on a big day across the Premiership. Livingston are relegated. Any Livy fans out there want to get in touch? We'd love to hear from you. Let's bring in John, who is a Celtic fan. What did you make of today, John? You must be delighted.
Over the moon. The league is done.
Wow.
Right, that's my
Gone
word
that far?
for you.
Definitely.
Right, the league's done. Aye, no problem. Right, 2 points I want to make. The referee today was diabolical. Right, that's why we don't have referees. That performance to that clown today, that's why we don't have referees going to the Euros. The second point is, Franklin knew what he was doing at the penalty when he deliberately, when I'm saying deliberately, handled the ball. Is that not a yellow card?
No, not like that one. It wouldn't, because you say deliberate, but that rule is just not really. I mean, how do you know he meant it? He didn't mean it. It's come over the head. You can see the look in his face. It's hit him in the hand. Celtic got the penalty. Is that like? I'm torn here, John, because you are allowed to phone in about whatever you like, but on a day like today, when you've taken that step, you say the league's over. It's a 3-0 win. Seriously, the referee's the main thing that's in your head right now. You're not just happy about the win.
No, of course I'm over the moon with the win. That's no doubt about that. But the refereeing is getting worse and worse, and it's not getting any better.
But are we in danger, though, John, of taking what actually, even if there were some decisions that you weren't happy with, are we not in danger of taking every decision and making out like it's the worst thing you've ever seen, and every call is a howler, and every refereeing display is the worst display that you've ever seen? Today wasn't one of those days, was it? There was hardly any big calls. There was a big one in the penalty box that eventually, with the help of VAR, Celtic got a penalty. It was extremely tight on the offside for Kyogo's goal, so they went to VAR and it went Celtic's way, rightly, I assume, because of the offside. So what's the big drama, John? We're bound to think that the referee and everything is always the main story if we keep making it the main story, even on the days when it's not.
Well, Gordon, there's 2 teams on the park. Each have got to get the ref's respect. Not just one team. He just gave everything to Hearts. Hearts players just spawned down, free kick.
Yeah, but that's my point, John. He didn't give everything to Hearts on a day Celtic got a penalty, did he?
Oh, well, how could you not give that a penalty?
I know, but
was there not a point where
we're
2 Celtic
wasting...
players ran into each other and Celtic got a free kick? Did Forrest and Hattati not?
But again, that's a small incident as well, so I don't think that says much even the other way.
Could I ask John, could I ask you to give me one contentious decision that inspired you to make this phone call?
Aye. Oh, you can ask.
I just have.
I'm not giving you that answer. You can ask all you want.
Keevins, didn't it? That stumped you.
No, it's not. I have asked you to give me one example, and you cannot. In other words, your phone call is based on
John's
nothing.
Done you there. John's ran rings round you there, Hugh.
You see, you're putting ideas in the minds of the people here. He has made an excessively bizarre and outrageous phone call on a day when everyone, from Joe Hart, who had an outstanding game for Celtic, to Kyogo, to the captain, to O'Reilly, even Maeda when he came on was sensational. To start with the referee is bizarre, and I won't use any other words because you'll cut me off.
I don't know, but like I said, if John thinks the ref had a bad game, that's what we're here for. He can phone in and say the ref had a bad game. I do just wonder,
but can't think of one example.
I do just wonder how on days like today is that like your number one priority or your main takeaway. Because like I said, we do have enough of a hard time here. There are going to be big decisions, there are going to be bad refereeing decisions, there are going to be big VAR calls, and then you deal with them. So see on the days that you don't really need to talk about the ref, why waste time doing it?
Exactly. There wasn't any of that today. It was pretty straightforward, I thought, for the referee this afternoon. And John's got plenty airtime there to praise the team he supports, yet chose another direction, which is slightly strange.
I don't know how the referee didn't see the game, but I've got to say, you've got to look at the positive. 3-0 against the third best team. Everybody thinking, oh, this could be a difficult game against Hearts. They've beaten us twice this season. Clean sheet, I think. You talk about the positives. Celtic defence sometimes comes in for a bit of criticism. Scale signed that new contract. I think Brendan Rodgers overall will not talk about the referee. He'll be delighted with today.
Joe Hart stepped up when needed. That was a top save, wasn't it, in the first half?
Yeah. Well, Joe Hart, to me, Joe Hart has been terrific for Celtic. I know he comes in for a bit of criticism because that's the way it is when you play with the big two. If you're off it a little bit, you'll get criticised, but Joe Hart's big enough to stand up to that, and I think he's been a real good signing for Celtic.
John, are you sure the league's definitely over?
Oh, Gordon, it's over, mate. Just shut your eyes and just
It's got very little to do with my eyes, John. I'm just assessing whether if Rangers win tomorrow it's 3 points and still lots to be played for.
Will Rangers get 3 points tomorrow?
It's a very good question, and if they don't, then your argument that it's over would be strengthened for sure. But put it this way, John, if the roles were reversed and a Rangers fan was on today saying that it was over, you'd laugh at them. But I know that's the way that it works. I'm just crunching the numbers, Mark. It doesn't look over. I get why Celtic fans are very confident. I think I would be if I was in John's shoes, looking at the head-to-head record between the sides this season. But I think I would be, maybe just a personal thing, I think I'd be hoping for a wee bit more of a cushion before I called in shows like this and declared it definitely
without
over.
doubt. And you'll have to look at some of the performances from Celtic this year to think that could happen again. Now, today's performance was a good one. It's put them in a good place going into next week, but doesn't it guarantee you the same performance as you witnessed today? If Rangers start the game well, listen, Rangers have to get 3 points first tomorrow to keep the pressure on, but if Rangers start the game well at Celtic Park, then who knows which way it can go, because they've been incredibly close this year. So no, it sets it up nicely. But Brendan Rodgers will be, as Daz says, very happy with his team's performance, and he has to take huge credit, because remember, he says, I'll see you back here in May for the Celtic fans who doubted him at the start. So he has to live up to that tag, and at this stage of the season it looks like he is.
We'll hear hopefully from Brendan Rodgers before the end of the show. Thank you to John. What about Andy in Stirling? What did you take away from today, Andy?
I think that's the most complete Celtic performance I've seen this year. I do agree with John. I think the league's over. I think it's done. I think that was the most important result. I had that result as more key than a lot of people had to Kilmarnock. I thought the Hearts game was the most important one to win, because it builds more pressure on Rangers and more momentum for Celtic. I thought they were brilliant today. That's my first point. And my second point is for Darryl, who was on the first caller. Hugh Keevins is 74 years of old, probably had a Celtic scarf on before the rest of us, and he's an emotional guy. He thought the league was over when Celtic lost at Hearts, and by the way Celtic were playing, there was a lot of Celtic fans thought the same way. So, a wee bit of respect is due where it's due. He always gives you an honest opinion, and that's all you can ever ask for.
Just a wee bit of respect, though. We don't want to overdo it.
Don't spoil him.
Just a wee bit.
Caller, be nice to you. I've heard it all now.
Right, let's move on.
Still get the scarf on. Like.
Let's move on. Andy thinks it was Celtic's most complete performance, and this year or something, and it might not be far,
not far away.
Tynecastle, funnily enough, Tynecastle away earlier in the season was held up as one of the best.
Pretty good.
It's not a bad time to put in one like that, is it? Because last weekend was fascinating, because everybody kept saying it's just about getting the result at this time of the season, which it is.
Yeah.
But Rangers got criticised, Celtic got criticised. You would obviously much rather do it in a convincing fashion.
Well, without doubt, and the confidence that they showed today, just breeds confidence throughout that stadium going into next week, and even the players themselves must feel good about themselves, because there's different types of ones. You go last week, you scrap, you battle, and you come off and you think it was hard fought, it was just about the 3 points. Today those Celtic players will feel on top of the world. I've been in the dressing room when it's been like that. You feel energised almost. So it's a good place to be in, but like I say, it doesn't guarantee you anything. And fans saying that the league's over, I think they're a bit premature.
It's not over at 5:35 on the 4th of May. But at 5:35 on the 11th of May, if Celtic are beating Rangers, I would reserve the right to say it is over, because you then have a 6-point lead for Celtic. I'm assuming that Rangers win tomorrow. A 6-point lead for Celtic and 2 games to play. it would be the collapse of all time if Celtic did not win the league.
What in particular impressed you today, Andy? I mean, you called it complete, so clearly it was a few things, but if you had to choose a few highlights.
I think Matt O'Reilly looked more like Matt O'Reilly. Callum McGregor was back to how we know Callum is, and I just feel that ever since Rio Tati's came back in at Livingston, Celtic have been building up to this because they've been more fluent throughout the team. The one downside for me is if I was Brendan Rodgers, I would actually have a wee word with Greg Taylor and tell him to stop being such a snowflake. The second chance that Hearts had, where Joe Hart saved the ball with his chest, was doing it to Greg Taylor trying to buy a free kick on the byline. To me, it goes over too easy at times, and I think I would be having a word and say, look, men are men, behave yourself and play the game the way it should be played.
Old school approach from Andy on the line. Yeah, Gordon, the Matt O'Reilly performance remains to be seen whether he'll be player of the year tomorrow, but started the season brilliantly. Atletico Madrid came along, dipped off a bit, but last few weeks you look at the penalty, you look at his involvement in the game against Aberdeen in the Cup at Hampden, again today, goal and an assist.
Listen, he's not been poor, Gordon. It's just the fact he set such high standards at the beginning of the season. That's why Atletico Madrid were interested in taking him. He was absolutely brilliant. I think because of, you look at the timing of it, Hatate went out with an injury, McGregor's out with an injury. That's the engine of your team. That's your three. Everything, they work together. They know each other's game inside out. All of a sudden they've got McGregor back, they've got more minutes in him. Hatate's back, more minutes in him. And Celtic put on their best display today for a long while against a good Hearts side at Celtic Park, a clean sheet and 3 goals. So I think just that blend, everybody coming back, really helps O'Reilly. And his penalty kick today, we've seen it, absolutely brilliant penalty kick. I know people say, it's a professional footballer, it's easy to score a penalty kick. Absolute terrific take.
If we even limit ourselves to the Scottish Premiership markets, 14 goals and 12 assists.
Yeah, that's good going
for Matt O'Reilly. That's not bad for someone who's apparently had a big dip in the middle.
Yeah, well, I think Daz is spot on. I think individually he's been great, but I think when you play with players you enjoy playing with and who can find you in those wee pockets, then you obviously flourish, and that's the case with Matt O'Reilly. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how many games those three have played together, McGregor, O'Reilly and Hatate, because Hatate missed a huge chunk.
Yeah, they barely did at the start of the season, and then they hadn't played since October until a couple of weeks ago when they were reunited.
And that probably coincides with Matt O'Reilly's dip, of course. So no coincidence that when Hatate's back in the team, McGregor's close to fitness, O'Reilly is standing out yet again.
Yeah, thank you very much to Andy on the line. What about Stephen and Kirkintilloch? How are you feeling now, Stephen? How close is this title feeling?
Well, gentlemen, take nothing for granted. Yes, it was a fantastic performance today by the team against a team that's caused us an awful lot of problems this whole season. Delighted with the win, and kind of I feel vindicated for the point that myself and Hugh made just last week when we talked about James Forrest coming in place of Yang. I think he's done a tremendous amount of work today. A lot of your work goes unnoticed, but all round great result. But take nothing for granted. This, as I said before, this league isn't over until it's mathematically over. And I wouldn't want to be one of those supporters who turned around and said, what, the league's gone, brilliant, we've won it. There's been too many changes this season for both sides for anybody to be able to say that definitively that it's over, so but really, really happy, great weekend for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wonder, Dais Almeida came back into the team today, came on. James Forrest, it's a bit early for this discussion, but is it those two against Rangers next weekend?
I would say it has to be that way. Kuhn flits in out of games. He does have something about him, but in Forrest and Dais Almeida, you're talking about guys who really do contribute on occasions such as these. Yang is a debate that's not worth having right now. He is not up to it right now, and it was correct to leave him out, and it was belated decision to bring in James Forrest, but it paid off. Next week, I think this is the day for the tried and tested, those you can trust in. Lightweights don't win heavyweight contests, and next week is the definition of a heavyweight contest.
How key could that be, Stephen, getting Maeda some game time today?
100%. Listen, he's kind of showed himself to be a thorn in the side of James Tavernier. Not only for the offensive stuff that he does, but he does a great defensive job against Tavernier, who ultimately, you know yourself, if you give him a chance, to get up that wing, he will do it. So, listen, really over the moon that Maeda's back. I kind of agree with you again. I would drop Kuhn and I would put James Forrest on the opposite side of it. You know, I think things are looking good for Celtic at this moment in time. I think since we get beat 2-0 at Tynecastle, Celtic kind of galvanised themselves and they've just slowly but surely went about their business. You know, Rangers had that wee point where they were in the ascendancy and Celtic were kind of in the shadows, but still delivering and waiting for a slip up, which thankfully for our side of things came. But you know, I think they've really showed today that they are a good side, and listen, that'll be putting a wee bit of pressure on Rangers for tomorrow. As I say, they not only have to go out tomorrow and win, they have to try and get some sort of form of goal difference, because the goal difference is creeping up. I think it's maybe 8 now. So, I mean, listen, the Rangers fans will be demanding a victory tomorrow, but not just a victory, they'll be wanting goals. And sometimes it's really hard against teams like Kilmarnock, who've proven against both sides of the Old Firm that they can handle it, they can handle the pressure, you know.
Scoreboard pressure, Brendan Rodgers called it. We'll see what Rangers can do tomorrow. Rangers fans, how are you feeling now ahead of that one? We'll start getting managerial reaction to today after these.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
We're on the final stretch of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. A busy day in the Scottish Premiership and beyond, and of course a big day tomorrow as well. Livingston have been relegated to the Championship, 6 years in the top flight. It was an outrageous achievement to get there in the first place, then to stay there for one season, never mind this length of time. So credit to them. All good things come to an end, as the phrase goes. And here's Davy Martindale's immediate reaction.
I'm realistic enough to realise this was probably a situation that could arise. When you look at kind of the form we've been on this year, the points total, the gap, it was always going to be difficult. And you look at even today's result, if we'd won today, it probably still would have meant relegation. So it's been something that's been on the horizon, let's be honest.
Yep, that's true. It was inevitable. But Mark, honestly, across the board, think of some of thinking that the team and the way it's had to develop, and Liam Kelly and Declan Gallagher and Craig Halkett, guys that some of them have gone on to represent Scotland. Lyndon Dykes has become Scotland's main man, sold for a couple of £1 million, shocked Celtic on various occasions, gave Rangers one or two bloody noses, but never quite the same level of success. Cup finals, finishing high up the league. In fact, not only have they not been relegated up until this point, they've never even been close.
It's been a sensational run for them. You've got to say, when you take into consideration the budgets and trying to attract players, build new squads every year, and David Martindale's been there through it all, or in the background even when he wasn't manager, so he has to take huge credit for how that club has overperformed in years gone by. But it just catches up with you. Budgets get bigger than other teams while yours shrink, and that's when you find it incredibly difficult to stay within the league. And that's what's happened this year. He's tried to reinvent the side on a shoestring budget, and it's caught up with him eventually.
It's been a sore one for Davy. I think he puts so much work into that club. We all know that he's involved in everything, even putting the nets up when he has to for a game. But hopefully they'll go down to the Championship now. They'll regroup. There'll be a big clear out, no doubt in that. And knowing Davy with the character he's got, he'll get them back up and he'll start building again.
And Davy Martindale wouldn't object, because he's a realist. We have lost Livingston and we have gained Dundee United. Therefore the Premiership is better off, and that is simply the truth of the matter.
Yep, Livy fans out there, if you want to give us a call, you can do. Let's hear from Justin, who's a Rangers fan, Brendan Rodgers spoke about scoreboard pressure, Justin, when one team plays first and wins at this stage. Do you buy that? Do you feel any differently about tomorrow, knowing that Celtic won today?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My point is really something. I've been really interested listening to some of the Celtic fans' calls, especially kind of Darryl and I think it was John earlier on. Nothing has changed for Rangers, and I'm sure Philip tomorrow will have the team thinking exactly the same way. Rangers have got to win all of their games between now and the end of the season. I don't think that's changed. Celtic winning a day hasn't changed that. The Celtic fans that are coming on, and I get today is going to make them buoyant and stuff like that, and there was a decent performance from them. But these are the same Celtic fans that were saying the league was over in November, before they had a massive slump out of nowhere. And Rangers clawed it back to be in the situation that they've been in over the last couple of months. I think I've always thought that Celtic's biggest two challenges is Rangers at Parkhead and Kilmarnock. I don't think that's changed either. So, like a few, and I'm glad there's been some rational heads in the studio saying, Rangers win tomorrow and then go to Parkhead and beat Celtic, which is definitely possible. It's not a foregone conclusion that Celtic's just going to walk that because they've won a won and drew games this season already. There's been marginal differences between the two teams this season and the games that are head to head. The draw at Ibrox, that penalty decision against Goldson isn't made. That's a different game altogether, and if we're talking about a different result. So nothing has changed, I don't think, from Rangers' point of view in relation to pressure, because whether Celtic won the day or not, Rangers still need to win all their games between now and the end of the season to win the league.
Probably need something else. I keep hearing this. I take your point because Kilmarnock will be tough, but you now kind of need that, don't you? You need a Rangers win, potentially plus a snooker somewhere else. So that has changed in the last couple of weeks, or do you mean just hasn't changed today?
No, it hasn't changed today. I mean, Celtic still need to play Kilmarnock. That's my point. What was meaning was Rangers and Celtic playing Kilmarnock, I think, are the two bigger challenges out of the games they had left. So from a point of view of, Rangers need to win tomorrow, yes, they need to win at Parkhead, but they also need to win the rest of the games. Do you know what I mean? So from the point of view of pressure, the pressure is on Rangers, but they need to win all their games between now and the end of the season. That's
I needed that before today anyway. I take that point, Hugh.
But I think the dynamic has changed though. The dynamic places Celtic in a position where,
well, they're a game closer ultimately, aren't they? They could have dropped points today.
I assume that Rangers win tomorrow. If Celtic win next Saturday, then I have to think that with I understand the point about Kilmarnock, and Rugby Park's been a troublesome place for Celtic this season. We get out of the Viaplay Cup there, they lost in the league there. But if Celtic beat Rangers, the dynamic changes entirely. They go to Kilmarnock knowing that a draw would win them the league, and if they don't get it there, they know that if we get a home game against St Mirren, I think the dynamic has changed. And what has also changed is that Kyogo is back to resembling the player that the Celtic fans adored. The captain has now come away again. O'Reilly has come away again. I just think the dynamic changed today with the result and the performance.
I do take Justin's point though, maybe not for Rangers. I suppose the two things can be separate. Celtic are now they're a game closer.
Yeah,
they are. But in terms of what that does to Rangers, well, who knows? It's always this way when we talk about psychology. We're sort of, you can spin it in a number of ways.
Yeah, I think leading up to next week, it was always going to be the same. You look at the two fixtures at the beginning of the split. St Mirren and Dundee away, difficult. You look at Hearts, difficult. You look at Kilmarnock, difficult. I just had a feeling, and I'm still with it, and I'm nearly right, that both teams would have picked up maximum points, get into the massive game next week. And I think that's where it'll be decided that will Celtic then be champions, because I'm with the guys, and I think we're all agreeing if Rangers win tomorrow, which I expect them to do, and Celtic beat them next week, they're champions. There's no way back for that. But don't write off Rangers yet, because they've shown before under this manager they've got plenty of character, plenty of bottle, and they can come back from it.
No Goldson tomorrow. Justin, is there anything in particular you want to see from the team?
No, I think that's a bonus, if I'm entirely honest. I think Balogun and Suter through the middle is calmer. I think Balogun makes Suter a calmer player. I think he's less prone to mistake. If Balogun's next to him, I think Goldson makes him more nervous or more prone to errors. I would just like to say kind of one point. This is how confident I am in the belief, and this is not misplaced belief, how confident I am with my belief that Rangers will beat Celtic at Parkhead and Celtic will slip up at Kilmarnock. I will happily put £1,000 bet on with Darryl, your caller earlier on, that if Celtic win the league, I will put £1,000 to Clyde One Catch for Kids. If he would happily do the same, he's that confident that Celtic are going to win the league.
I think I'm obliged to tell you all to
Darryl's
gamble responsibly, even if it is
panicking
even
now.
if it is for charity.
Darryl's
My
changing his
word.
number.
Anyway, I'm going to need to squeeze this in because I know you'll want to hear it. We're nearly done. Brendan Rodgers on today's victory.
I thought it was fantastic in terms of performance, result in the game. Great feeling in the stadium, you know. So yeah, I thought we played very, very well, aggressive. Apart from that first 5 minutes of the game, I didn't like. We weren't. We were just slow getting the ball from our own throw-ins. We were giving away corners, so that wasn't really what we wanted. But then we settled into the game, got the ball moving, and then obviously we get the goal, and then the place comes alive. So no, I thought I was really, really pleased. These are big games at this stage of the season, so you want in a big game, big performances, and a big contribution from your best players. And I thought our top players were top. So yeah, really pleased.
Yeah, he sounds like a man who enjoyed his afternoon, but at the same time was put through the emotional ringer. And that's what it's all about now. It's about high emotion. And that will carry over into the game at Ibrox tomorrow. And we are now looking at a Hollywood blockbuster at Celtic Park next Saturday. Gordon Dalziel and myself are of the belief that if Celtic win that match, they will win the league. And that is what makes it an epic confrontation.
Well, it's been quite a day. Big result for Celtic, big performance. Livingston relegated, Kilmarnock without kicking a ball have secured European football. St Mirren have taken a step towards it, and it's heating up in the relegation playoffs as well. A huge afternoon for Rangers and Kilmarnock tomorrow, and whatever happens, you can reflect on it all from 6 o'clock on Monday night. We will see you there, and the GBX is up next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Looking to sell your Audi? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
Sounds like someone's lowered prices with their Tesco Club Card. Like 10 Tesco Finest Pork Sausages, now half price for just £2.50, down from £5. With Tesco Club Card, everyone can feel to lower prices. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores end 7th of May. Club Card or app required.